Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Hop in the car, Panther fans. We're riding to what may not be known as Bank of America forever. Yes, that's right. Bank of America Stadium could be named something else. Who knows? It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, and you know we're not changing that name. We're not changing the time. We're not changing the date. It's 9 p.m. It's Tuesday night, where we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name is Tony Dunn. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to be looking at the draft picks. We've got Bryce, baby. Boy, the Bryce is right. We've got, we hit the Mingo for bingo. Bingo, Mingo. It's Mingolicious. Man, he's been making touchdowns delicious since 2023. And we'll be looking at all the 2023 Panthers draft picks, as well as looking at, we've got Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard coming on to give us a little overview of what the Bucks did in their free agency. The cat calls at 252-228-5098. I know there's a lot in the hole already. People got a lot to say, and I can't wait to hear what they got to say with my wheelman, my co-host, Cody Lashney. Nice to see you again, my friend.
Tony Dunn, we know who the number one pick is. It's the quarterback from Alabama, Bryce Young. If you think he's too small, you better get over it, man. It's time to get aboard the bandwagon. Everything is looking up for the Carolina Panthers, man. As you mentioned, stadium rights. We're gonna do a bit of a deep dive into all of the draft picks made by the Carolina Panthers and do a bit of a recap and see what kind of players that we picked up in this year's draft. We have a fantastic guest, as you already said, and we're gonna talk about some fifth-year options, some being picked up, some not being picked up. But Tony, first and foremost, you know we're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, baby. You already know them and love them. It's Adam Sanders, Drew, Blind Panther Vlogs. What's up, Joey? C3 Anthony Picarello, C3 D's Ill Skills, Craig Cartner, Dying Breed, Harvey London, Joshua Hall, Kristen Delane. What's up, Kristen? Lawrence Trevette, Lynn Leon Hart, Nathan Sebens, Off Grid, Panthers 1981, Smells Like Blue, Squad Down Productions, The Real AP, Twan Don versus Everybody, White Chocolate Espresso, and that boy Underground West. And last but not least, C3 co-founder, that freaking Puerto Rican, Joe Riolano in the building. What's up, Joe? You know we love you, baby. And Tony Dunn, as I'm known to say, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Jojo, man, brother, love you. Glad to see you around. Twan Don put out a video of top 10 Panthers podcasters out there, and somehow Cody's Friday free-for-all comes in ahead of the C3 Panthers podcast. But then Pickle come in there and said, what the fuck, man? Give that C3 to love, man. Pickle represents, man. And CK represents. He got the baby in the house. Lynn wants to know if you're getting any sleep. CK, why are you even here, my man? Thanks for being here. We love you. But, boy, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. She didn't want to sleep in the swing, so we might just have a permanent guest for the rest of the night, as long as she doesn't get too rowdy right here. I'm sleeping decently. My wife is the one that's really going to be in trouble. She's got
the early phase.
With that, she's got a sinus infection. On top of she's breastfeeding, so it's like it's every few hours she's having to be up and whatnot. So if you're gonna feel bad for anybody, I feel bad for my wife, but it's hard to feel bad when you have a cute little thing like this. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Lucky, very fortunate. And speaking of breastfeeding, Greg, I tuned into the Geeks Chasing Squirrels through the Multiverse podcast last week. Somehow the boobs interview got broadcasted on our channel.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, sorry about that.
Wild, which is
Yeah.
fine. And I took everything in my might to resist some comments in the comments of the YouTube chat. And when it was like, got big things going on, big boobs going on, the interview, poor girl was having some struggles. She was struggling on the technology. She got flustered. She got flustered in this. And I also almost messaged you and said, the only thing that's going to save this interview is seeing her boobs. The best part was when she called in on the phone.
Yeah.
Had the camera on, but then put the phone to her ear. Like she was that was great.
Yeah.
Greg, welcome back to the C3 Panthers podcast.
What's up, man? Tony, the best thing about the position that we're in, the draft being over, is now instead of talking about are we going to get it right, it's did we get it right? It's so funny because it's the exact same conversation, just changing one word in the sentence.
Oh, I know.
I thought it was going to be totally different, but it's the exact same conversation, just slightly different. So I'm not insanely thrilled with any draft pick that we had this year. I'm happy with them. I'm okay. Like we're gonna break them down because none of the guys that we picked were anybody that I had picked in any mock draft that I did at all by any means. But I'm happy with what we got. I'm gonna deal with what we got, and I think we have a decent team moving forward. I just hope that everybody works out the way we're planning on them working out.
Greg, speaking of that, when we got through, I guess it was kind of just in the draft week, I was just kind of exhausted by the discussion. This is how I get every year. And I know we're hyper focused on this, right? I mean, we write about it, we talk about it, we do multiple podcasts about it. So we have, sometimes I forget that too, that not everyone who listens to the show is listening to everything that we're listening to. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I think like, oh, why are we talking about this? This feels so dated to me. And people are kind of just, getting their bearings in a different way. I get this draft fatigue, and I got the quarterback fatigue towards the end. We continue to just debate the same crap over and over and over. And like you said, we got the guy now. I woke up, it's probably yesterday, maybe, and I had another new anxiety, and it was just like, man, can we just get to the damn games?
Right.
Like, I just want to see him play now, because all we're going to debate now for the next whatever is like every pass that's dropped in training camp or mini camp and whatever. So anyway, good things happening. Great problems to have. The Carolina Panthers selected number 1 overall, and they got their quarterback in Bryce Young to chart their course to. That is our North Star that we can hopefully chart our course to success with. We've got Jonathan Mingo and some other guys to talk about. The number's 252-228-5098. We want to get your thoughts on the draft. Jump into the comment section. Let us know what you think. Smash the thumbs up button. Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com and go to the shop tab. You can check out, look, one of the first shirt we ever ran, right? The voice of Panther Nation, CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You can get gear like this there. Help support the show. Maybe even consider being a C3 super fan. But your participation, your presence, your time is the greatest thing you can contribute. Cody, lastly, let's go ahead and rock into tonight's show. It almost feels like, again, fatigue for me a little bit. It's like all we've been doing is talking about, now we got our players. This is the moment I was ready for. Look, even the little baby is ready for this.
Yes,
We've got our guys. Bryce Young's the number 1. Bryce Young era begins. I heard today on the radio, Mike Glennon, former NC State quarterback who played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then went mentored. He was there when they drafted Jameis Winston, then he was in Chicago when they got Mitch Trubisky, and they asked him what Bryce Young should expect. And he said this: everything in OTAs, rookie mini camps, will be about Bryce Young. Like the whole world will now gravitate around this young man right here. The number nine guy right here, Matt Corral, coughed it up. I wonder what the cost was. That's what somebody needs to break on Twitter, is how much did Bryce Young pay for the number 9? Or did he have to pay it all?
That's the thing. If I don't really know, that if Matt Corral did have to pay or not, because the way that it's being made to seem is that Matt Corral kind of always wanted to wear number 2.
DJ
So
Moore
what?
had it.
Yeah. So one, shout out to the people that made these edits, man. These are just absolutely insane.
Looks
Look how good this is, man.
Yeah, it does look good.
Just as cool as can be. But from what I heard and what is being reported, yeah, Matt Corral had previously requested to go back to number 2. So I don't even know if he made Bryce write him a check. I kind of think Matt maybe just did the good guy thing and handed over that number 9 and went to 2. Again, I don't really know how it works. I don't know if you have to pay the guy for the number that he's already wearing or not, but Bryce Young is indeed wearing number 9 for the Carolina Panthers. And I titled the show tonight, Welcome to the Bryce Young Era. You better remember this, man, because this is going to be a start of an entirely new era in Panthers football. From the coaching staff to the front office to the players on the football field. You know, we're going to look back at these times in about 10 years and be like, man, we have come a long way since drafting Bryce Young number 1. So he is our number 1 overall pick. The Panthers put out young one. And just for a little bit of size comparison between him and our very own Brian Burns, there's a bit of a difference. But hey,
wait until you see them both in pads. You're like,
yeah.
oh, Bryce Young
Like
will
a
look
Lego.
bigger in pads.
Like a
So
Lego.
will Brian Burns.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
can I
built
Can I
like
mention-
a middle. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Greg.
Well, I just want to mention something real quick. You know, we'd mentioned at the beginning of this how Bryce Young's going to be like the talk of the town around the NFL for the offseason and everything. I don't think so. I really don't. Like, as soon as the draft happened, I'm ready to start listening to all these podcasts to talk about the draft and all this and that. Every single podcast I listen to just totally skipped over Bryce Young to say anything. As a matter of fact, Around the NFL podcast, which is sponsored by the NFL, started at number 2, breaking down all the draft picks. Because everybody was just so sure Bryce Young was going to go number 1. So my thing is, if he's supposed to be so great, why is nobody talking about him?
I think that's a Panther thing, Greg. I think
It may
it's not
be.
even a Bryce Young thing
may
as
be.
much as it just everyone perpetually sleeps on the Carolina Panthers because we're an afterthought.
Yeah.
And no one is going to mention the Panthers or take us seriously until we start putting some W's on the football field and not a moment sooner.
We even went down in power rankings after drafting the number 1 quarterback on the
stupid,
board.
dude.
It's so dumb.
dumb.
So you're
It's
telling me
so
we got
dumb.
worse drafting Bryce Young? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Does that tell us, I mean, certainly we believe it's part Panther thing, but one is a media thing and not just with the Panthers. Is Bryce Young sexy? As in discussion sexy, you know, it's like he's just, you know, is like is not the, I don't know, are the big highlights there, or is it just like he's just so complete, you know, that it's just kind of hard to capture his greatness in a soundbite. There's also polarizing, right? There's a difference between someone being good and being polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton had this effect. Donald Trump has this effect. Barack Obama. I always compared Cam Newton to Barack Obama, and people were like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, look, you either love Barack Obama like I do, or you hate him. Like, there's very little middle ground for people like Cam Newton, Donald Trump, Barack Obama. And I think Bryce Young has a lot of middle ground. You know, I don't think it's like a person goes, oh, I love him so much. I got to defend him against all the people. Like, nobody really dislikes him. So how can you? It's just like a decent dessert.
But the problem is that's what everybody was doing to speak him into the number 1 position was talk about how great he was and that he's head and shoulders above everybody else. And then just like he gets drafted number 1, it's like, okay, he's the number 1 guy. Let's go on.
Yeah, I do find that ironic, Greg. But to me, that's not an indictment on Bryce. To me, it's just it's 100% what people think about the Carolina Panthers. And by the way, like, you know, I've made this point before. Like, if you juxtapose Bryce Young with Cam Newton, they're literally polar opposite people.
Yeah.
Like Cam Newton has this personality that's very like, he's cool. You never know what he's gonna say. there's like this air about him. But Bryce Young, he's very soft spoken, guys, and he wishes everybody well. And
He
I'm
wears
gonna go out
Crocs,
there-
probably.
I'm gonna
He
go
probably
out
wears
there and-
Crocs.
I'm gonna go out there and do my best, boys. You know,
know.
he has that. He
It's
has that
boring.
very
It's
that
boring.
very right. So what
everybody
I'm
wanted.
ultimately trying to say is that when people are going to start talking about Bryce Young, it's going to be because of what he's doing on
Just
the
like
football
Pat
field.
Mahomes.
Yeah,
Like Pat
and it's
Mahomes.
going to be
Oh.
even more impressive once he starts to ball out. If he does ball out in the NFL, the fact that he's 5'10", 195 pounds, like that's going to be even more reason to talk about this unprecedented quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
Can I also say, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that people are overestimating other teams, right? They're looking at what Houston did, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they made these giant." You know, they let's be real about it. They overpaid to move up from 12 to 3 for Will Anderson, but
They paid a shit. They paid more than we paid to damn get to number one.
Right.
But I also
Wait
think
till you
that,
see what they're gonna pay.
right. Well, I think that it goes a long way when you look at the fact that our wide receiver core are a bunch of, right now from the media's perspective, are a bunch of number twos, right? So we don't have that. Like when you look at hold on, baby. When you look at other teams that have, you know, their number one wide receiver and their running back, you know, example Atlanta, you know, I think they're looking at that as a more complete team, even though Desmond Ridder is a huge question mark, right? Like not just a huge question mark, like a ginormous question mark, right?
No kidding. No kidding.
So, but I think that the supporting cast around him is getting a lot more attention, and they're valuing that higher than the fact that we have the number one quarterback in the draft this year.
Okay. That's a fair
I
point.
tell you this is you said that Cody, you said that this will be the draft, the era to remember, right? Or this is the moment to remember. The crazy part about this, and I've been saying this on the show for a minute, is that the number one pick is there's this weight that comes with it. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's either a complete success or a complete failure. And this will either be the moment to remember or the moment that we wish we could forget.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that if it works out, this will be legendary. It's the moment, like that's what it is, and I believe it will. You know, I have no reason that it won't. I think the staff is there. I think we're putting together a team. I'm a little bit more worried about the defense at this moment than I am about the offense at this point, which is wild. That's been a wild. That's a kind of a wild thing for Panther fans. We're not used to that. But is that if it does go wrong, it's one of those things that it's going to reset the trajectory of the team for a long time, right? Is you get it
Dare
wrong,
I say boom or bust?
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what the number one pick comes with. If you're just pretty good, if he turns out to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL, it will be a bust, right? I mean, just ask the Rams and Jared Goff. He even got
Agreed.
they went to a Super Bowl and they traded him away.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and he was a number one pick, and you would have to say he's been very good. He has started in the league for a decade now. That's a very good career as a quarterback, but he has not lived up to the number one billing. It's just unfortunate situation. It's a
Yeah, and
reality.
like I said a couple of weeks ago, to me, it's completely fair to judge Bryce Young based on recent number one overall picks. And to my opinion, that is Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
Kyler
those
Murray
guys
especially.
those
Mhm.
guys both went number one. And I think if you look at the relative amount of success they've had, Kyler Murray's been to a Pro Bowl.
I don't think he's lived up to it. Honestly,
No, I
I
don't
would
think
say
so. No,
is
I
that
don't
he
think
has
so
not
either.
been what if Bryce
He
Young
did make
turns
a
out
Pro
to have.
Bowl.
Yeah, but you know what? The Pro Bowl is a popularity
Yeah,
contest.
really
at
nothing
the time,
anyway
a
now.
stat
Yeah.
contest sometimes.
Who else
But
got it?
I agree.
Didn't Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl too?
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Because people don't want to go to the Pro Bowl.
No doubt. I just added him in there because the size
Yeah,
comparison.
and
but,
he's
I mean,
a number one. He's a number one.
He's a number one
His
pick.
comp for
And,
me is definitely Murray. Yeah.
and Joe Burrow. and Trevor Lawrence. And if you look at how those two teams, like the fan bases of the Bengals and the Jaguars, shout out to cat teams, by the way, they, that both of those fan bases are reinvigorated just by the very nature of having those two dudes, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. So he has to have that same effect on both of us. And Tony, it's written into C3 legend at this point. The day when you were on my porch getting ready to go to the game, and we said, "Hey, man,"
we were playing somebody good that day too.
The Rams,
I think.
Yeah, the Rams.
And I'm like, Tony, how are you feeling? And you said, as long as we have Cam Newton out there, I feel like we have a chance.
Mhm.
Well, we need to feel the same thing from Bryce Young. We need to feel like as long as he is out there on the field, we will have a chance.
Last point about Bryce Young and the quarterbacks for me is we've talked ad nauseum on this podcast about the importance of a quarterback. How many people have debated the ability to build a winning team without a franchise quarterback when Cody was ready to trade everybody for Trevor Lawrence? And they'd say, oh, we can do this. But you know what? I've been thinking about this, is that, yes, you can give us some examples of teams that have found success without a quarterback. You can even give us some crazy examples of teams that have won Super Bowls without quarterbacks. But you cannot give me, to my knowledge, a team that has had sustained success without a quarterback.
No.
Right? Where you get like, is that like you might, it's a kind of a one-off perfect moment, but you're not in the playoffs 3 or 4 out of 5 years without a quarterback. And to be honest, we've seen how and this is the kind of hard part about this is, and hopefully Panther fans remember this. It seems easy to get to the chip, right? It seems easy, like where it's so hard to get to the Super Bowl, but once you get there, you feel like, oh, we're going to be back, right? Think about how we felt in 2015, the most perfect season potentially and almost in the history of like, it's like 2008 Patriots type season or whatever. And those moments turned out to be more fleeting than you think, so it's not like a guarantee, so just getting to the Super Bowl is difficult enough. Winning one is remarkably tough to do, but to be consistently good requires a guy on the other side, a quarterback. You have to have a quarterback. Name a team that's had continued success without a quarterback. I can't think of one.
I mean, our guy JD, who has proudly put that last name of Young back in his title. Shout out to JD. He said the 49ers, maybe. I mean, they've kind of been through the ups and downs with the quarterbacks. But, Tony, I'm not even going to argue with your man, because you're not wrong. If you do not have consistent high-level play at the quarterback position, you're dead on arrival. I mean, you might be a
hard to be
team.
consistently good. Yeah,
you may be a one-off team one year, but sustained success is never going to come to you unless you have that dude. And another thing to add to this conversation, Tony, it definitely works out that the Panthers are in the NFC. Because let's be
right
real.
Now.
Yeah, the quarterbacks in the NFC, and I'm not even just talking about the NFC South. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But just in the NFC in general, like Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, there's not a bunch of big names. Like those two I just mentioned are probably the two biggest out of all
next
of
year, though.
It's
next
just
year.
It depends on who ends up picking number 1 and number 2 for Caleb Williams and Drake May. But
it's gonna be an NFC team.
yeah, my only point is that the quarterback competition in the NFC is not very good right now.
Right.
So we're in
the
a
NFC
situation.
arguably is not very good.
No,
in general,
we're in a perfect situation for
to
Bryce
get good
Young.
at the right time.
Yeah, for Bryce Young being able to hit the ground running
For a year or two.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see, man. We don't know. And part of the reason why he would be able to is going to be because of this man, Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, drafted number 39 to the Carolina Panthers. This man is a physical monster. He is He is 6 foot 2 inches tall, 225 pounds. He broke the Ole Miss record for yards in a game with 247. He has great size, hands, physicality, burst, great route running, and the yards after the catch are really what has people drawn to him. And if you look at the RAS numbers right here, his relative athletic score, I mean,
It's
he
insane.
is a
It's insane.
producer, man.
Yeah.
He is a producer.
This is my
He
favorite
a
pick.
physical monster.
I'm all
mean-
in Mingo. I'm buying this jersey. This is the jersey I'm buying. Everybody went and got the Bryce Young jersey.
Yeah.
I
What's his
Mingo.
number? Is he going to be
Mingo
50? That's Chenault's number.
No, Chanel's back to 5.
Okay. That's what I was wondering when I saw that. Okay. So,
Yeah,
did he pay for that?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know who paid for what. I don't know the rules on all that. I have a list of all the new numbers, and we'll jump in on them later. But yeah, Tony, talk about this pick while I pull up some Senior Bowl clips of Jonathan Mingo in action.
All right, so the Carolina Panthers drafted Jonathan Mingo at 39. He was not the talk of the town when it came to draft scouts. I think he was ranked number 12 out of receivers, and Dane Brugler's the beast on The Athletic. Somebody that turned me on to him was T-Money 1993. Check out T-Money 1993 Gaming. But what I love about this is the NFL requires size and speed a lot of times. And now I hate to say that in the back end of, our quarterback being a little person. But this is the type of frame that this is like TO type frame. I mean, in a way, it's like you need a big, fast, and strong wins in the NFL. Like, yes, you can be small, you can do all these, but it's awesome if you are big and fast and strong. And this guy seems to be one of the things is kind of, I won't say odd about him, but if you look at like his center of gravity, is like he really seems kind of low to the ground for a big guy. Like his hips seem low the whole time. Like, and he's not like all over the place. Like when he's running, he's not like frailing and trying to run as like he looks put together. So I see this as the type of player that wins the comp for him in the NFL is AJ Brown. And you know what is that if he's as good as AJ Brown, look at how much of a difference that made for Philadelphia. Now, I brought this up to a guy at work today who is a Panthers fan. I only see him twice a week. So, the last time I saw him was the morning of the draft. And he said, this is our new DJ Moore. And I don't like that comparison. I know people have said this as that a lot of people like his run out after the catch ability, his athleticism, but I think that his size is so much of a different force than DJ Moore that I don't think that that's the best comparison. But I think this, and one other last thing is when we go to BJ, who's the defensive end we get?
DJ Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
But I heard Scott Fitter. We got a clip coming up for Scott Fitter, and they're ready to play him from day one. The attitude on this team right now is like, so I expect Mingo. They targeted him. This was the guy. They said they fell in love with somebody in the interviews. This turned out to be the receiver that they wanted. They went and got him. And I think we hit bingo. We hit the Mingo bingo card here, and I'm all in. This is what I'm going to base the entire C3 I'm going all in on Mingo. I feel great about this one. This is the one I want, baby. Yeah. I bet you his favorite food ain't no fucking salad.
No.
Right.
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just going to say, Tony, I agree with you. I think that this, beyond obviously getting a quarterback, even though we didn't get the one I wanted, is probably my favorite pick of that we had. I didn't know a whole lot about him going again, but watching his highlights, one thing I noticed that I can say is the difference between him and DJ Moore is he catches the ball with his hands. Every single catch, he catches the ball with his hands. He doesn't catch the ball with his chest. It's great. You can watch him, which means that he knows how to high point a ball, and he doesn't drop it. He's got sticky hands, man. I like this guy. I want to see how he's going to work out in the NFL. And A.J. Brown comparison's a pretty nice comparison. But like I said, go back and watch every one of the passes he has to him. He catches it with his hands and brings it to his chest.
Attacking, strong hands, attacking. This is like my favorite pick of this draft. And maybe I'm just secretly hoping to find that second wide receiver or that big wide receiver we've been looking for in the second round for so long. We go back to the days. Look, Brandon LaFell, drafted in the second round, 6'3", 215 pounds, big and fast, couldn't catch really that well. But, you thought, man, we're going to get this guy. I think he came out of LSU. You had another one. We traded up for Devin Funchess in 2015. And, boy, in his rookie year, put up some big numbers his rookie year. And arguably, sadly, I mean, if he would have caught some of those footballs, he would have actually turned out to be a good receiver.
Well,
Devin
He needs some
Funchess.
protein on that salad is what he needed.
Yeah, problem was he didn't learn how to eat protein until.
Some tuna on
And
that
then the
salad.
best
Yeah.
part, his last year in Carolina, right before he was leaving, they did like a personal special on him, and he was like, "Oh, I've learned how to cook. I really like how to cook now." And it was like almost was like,
You don't cook
"Dude,
salad,
you've
bro.
been listening to us talk shit
Yeah,
about you
yeah.
and your salad. Now you just be like, hey, my favorite food is steak."
So Tony, listen, I actually want to agree with your friend who made that comparison.
Okay.
And I'm not even agreeing with it because their bodies are similar. Because what I've been calling Jonathan Mingo is a bigger, stronger DJ Moore.
Bigger.
And,
Okay.
and yeah, he's bigger
Catches the
and
ball
he's
with
a
hands.
stronger version of DJ Moore. And here in a minute, I'll actually pull up both of their RAS scores. But this is a clip from the Senior Bowl. Shout out to Billy Marshall for the clip. But look at his body control. One, he can get off press man coverage, and then he can run away from you. He has separation ability, tracks the ball in the air, 2 hands, and gets the football.
I love
This man is everything you want at the wide receiver position. Jonathan Mingo has it. And I remember when I joined in on the Friday free for all that you were covering for me, Tony. At the end of the day, I wasn't happy with our picks from that day. I kind of felt like the position value was a little bit flipped. But now that I've had time to sit on it and think about it, I mean, looking at Jonathan Mingo and the upside and the potential that he has, and we'll get into the upside of DJ Johnson here in a minute, but I really do believe that this is another example of a potential second round pick that could turn into a first, a top 5 receiver talent.
Yeah, if he
in
turns
the
into
NFL.
that, if he turns
Right.
that's what you're hoping to hit on. But one other thing that, and I was hoping to try to get this across to you on that Friday free for all show a little bit, is that while the position group at wide receiver feels like not the most dire need right now, that's in a 1 year kind of look at it, right? Is because after this season, right? We've got Thielen on a multi-year 3-year deal, right?
Yep.
We have maybe you can get Terrace Marshall Jr. for 1 more year, but you don't even know if he's proven that like beyond this season, we would have to be going out into free agency. We would have to. So this is something that is, while it feels like, hey, we didn't need this right this moment, next year in 2024, we'll be thankful for this pick.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
And look, they're gonna get better with time, and a lot of people compare him to Brown. And again, I like that comparison. It's kind of an
He
easy
looks a
one.
little thicker to me than Brown. Like he doesn't look
He is.
as I think Antonio Brown and
faster,
Odell
too.
Beckham. I think Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown have more in common than these two guys than Mingo has with Antonio Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're projecting that upside and that potential of what they're going to be able to do. And like I said, I really love the physicality. And now, if you look at our receiving core, we have 3 receivers now that are at least 6'2" and above and can run a sub 4.5. Like,
So we got really tall receivers and early.
yeah, and that's perfect. Our short quarterback
Yeah.
has a bunch of skyscrapers to be able to throw the ball to. But CK, Greg, any other words on Jonathan Mingo before we? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I have one. I mean, it's the way that I look at this is it's similar, and this is the hope, right? The Minnesota Vikings traded Stephon Diggs, right? and we went to the Bills, and then they ended up picking up Justin Jefferson that year, right? It was a great move for Stephon Diggs. It was an even better move for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, who also went out and got a receiver this year too.
Yes.
Right. So
watch for him in fantasy. So.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason I bring that up is when you look at these guys and you see that, you know, that DJ Moore is probably going to be in a better situation in Chicago, but Mingo might have the best situation that, you know, of many of these receivers are going to have. You know, he is going to have a potential to be the number one guy, right? You know, you talk about, you know, Smith and Jigba, is that what his name is? Who went to Seattle. He's going to have to play behind 2 number 1 wide receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
You know?
Tell him, Raylan.
I think we should trade for for either Tyler Lockett or DJ Metcalf. That's a good trade target right there for Carolina. Could you imagine one of them coming in here on the side if you want to build up your wide receiver core?
Yeah, I think we wait a
Maybe
year
not this
on
year,
that.
yeah.
Don't forget the number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Cody, we've got Gene Thomas coming in just a few minutes to talk about the Bucs draft. How about we take a couple of calls before we get to our next draft pick?
Let's do it.
What do you think about that? The cat calls. Jump in. Tell us what you think about this. Are you did we hit the bingo card? Bingo for Mingo. And look, we need t-shirt ideas for Mingo. That's what I want. Ooh, flamingo. No, not yet.
I'm hearing a lot of no. I'm hearing a lot of Mingo bingo in the chat.
I'm making a bingo
I like
card
Mingo-licious, making delicious touchdown since 2023. I like that one. That's what I've been working on.
Here's an idea, and this is maybe something that we can move forward with just with our you know, our members or whatever. We can actually create a Mingo bingo card that's like, you know, we would just have random ones, and then like it's 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, random.
Oh,
That's one even better.
Idea.
We make a Mingo bingo card and we contact him and say, "Hey, if you get Mingo bingo this year, you've got to come on C3." That's the deal. Get Mingo bingo.
And with the fan that wins it too. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's take a couple of calls before 9:45. Where Buck, what you heard, Gene Thomas coming on to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft.
Let's do it. 252-228-5098.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Panther fans, Bryce up, son. Welcome, Bryce Young, man. We love you, buddy. Welcome to Charlotte, man. We can't wait to see you in Carolina Blue. I can't wait to see you, man. September can't hurry up. Panther fans, man, let's support this guy. Let's wrap our arms around him and love him, man. I can't wait to see Bryce Young in black and blue, man. Keep pounding.
M-I-N-G-O, M-I-N-G-O, M-I-N-G-O.
And Mingo was his name.
The chat always wins. Lynn says that the shirt's too long. The idea, though, kind of, and you're right, but just Mingolicious being the big part, and then like a little tag, kind of like established 2023, like delicious since 2023. But you're right, it's all a working project. The Mingo one is tough. I wanted to do Mingo Unchained, and it was like, wait a second.
Kind of cool. That's kind of.
I know, but it goes too.
I know. You know the like in Australia they say a dingo ate my baby. I think that's what I think.
A Mingo ate my baby.
Or a Mingo ate my corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. We
can't do Mandingo. We can't do Mingo because if you go back to the movie Mandingo, it's like an awful like not good. So like anything that comes to mind with Mingo also has a negative connotation. So we got Bingo, Mingo, M-I-N-G-O. Maybe that's what it is.
you definitely have to do the bingo cards.
Yeah, I love it.
Mingo-
The
yeah,
Mingo
that's-
card.
yeah,
It's the Mingo card.
cards.
All right,
Love it.
let's take another call real quick.
What's happening, C3? This is Hemlock. I was just reading that our
Don't drink it.
undrafted free agents that we picked up.
What up, Hemlock?
And did we not get the coolest named person ever in the history of football? Inside linebacker, Bumper Pool from Arkansas. We have to start him day one. You cannot go wrong with Bumper Pool.
Do you guys remember Bumper Pool?
Anyways,
I do.
keep pounding.
I have not.
Have a great one.
I have not seen a Bumper Pool table in a decade at least, more than that.
Go to an Airbnb
Amber-
in the mountains. They're in all of them.
They have the little. It's like
They're in all of them.
it's like
yeah.
playing. What would it be like? It's like pool mixed with the last
Shuffleboard,
hole of
kind
putt with
Yeah.
a like the disappearing ball at the putt place where you have to hit it between these little bumpers. Gosh, it was so hard. Bumper Pool. How is that someone's name? Literally, is that real? The number's
Don't you
25.
have Colt Naylor on your football team? And
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
actually, now he's with Seattle Seahawks now. He signed undrafted free agent. I don't know why you think that name is so wild.
I think it sounds awesome. I don't know. Maybe it's Naylor. I don't know.
All
Like,
right,
I would
one
name
la-
my kid Willie. I'm just saying.
I got you. One last call before Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard comes on the show. Thanks for your support. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the conversation.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hey, yeah, so happy the draft's over. It's May now. Only 3 more months until NFL games start, so it's awesome. So happy we drafted Bryce Young. So happy here. Yeah, really excited about that. I mean, he's coming into a great situation for a number 1 pick. This usually does not happen at all, and that's the main reason why number 1 picks, it takes them about 2 to 3, 4 years to make the playoffs and get it going, because you usually built up. But the unique thing is about our Panthers just haven't had the quarterback, over the past 5 seasons. So it's awesome that we have someone to put all our eggs in one basket in and get behind this guy. But I do want to talk quickly about any leftover off-season moves. First off, there's a couple picks that I'm skeptical about from the draft. I like Bryce Young, obviously. Chandler Zavalda, I thought was a great pick. I think he's going to be great for us. He's a big guy, and it's great that they're advocating for making our offensive line good. I like the Jonathan Mingo pick. I think his ceiling is A.J. Brown, which is awesome. Building for the future with that one. They're trying to develop a young wide receiver on a rookie contract, which is the smart thing to do. And, the Jamie Robinson pick I like, but I think we have a lot of safeties and hard hitters already, but that's fine. He's a depth piece. He can turn into a starter if, he shows out. The only pick I really didn't like is DJ Johnson. I think we reached for him. Cody knows this. But, yeah, I just think we reached for that pick. But the main reason I called you guys was I just wanted to know your thoughts on Yannick Ngakoue. And how would y'all love to have him on this team? Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding, boys.
So to add a little subtext to Anthony's call, Yannick Ngakoue went on Twitter and followed Shaq Thompson and DJ Chark and Brian Burns. So a lot of people are wondering, is Yannick Ngakoue, is there a deal potentially coming for the Carolina Panthers? I would feel so much better if we made at least one more free agent signing at the defensive end position. I was a little bit partial to Leonard Floyd just because I felt like he was a little bit better in run defense than Ngakoue when I looked up some of the numbers and listened to what people would say. But overall, that would be fantastic for the Panthers if we were able to do something like that.
Hard to see it in this view right here. White Chocolate Espresso, my bastard son, sent me. He said, "You think bumper pool is cool? Check out Kool-Aid McKinistry. That chemistry is Kool-Aid. Busted through the wall. We can't wait for that." Thanks for your calls. We're going to get back to your calls. The number's 252-228-5098. But now it's time to bring in our guest. Man, we are almost on time, guys. We've been rocking and rolling, and it's rare that we keep on a pace like this, but we do it because my main man, Gene Thomas, with the best podcast name in the history of the world. Buck, what you heard in the house. Look at you. You're looking good. Are you feeling good after the 2023 draft?
Gene.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Shout out to the fans. I love the fans. I got quite a few people that, that watch the show that follow me, and I really appreciate that. It remains to be seen. I like the moves that they made. They addressed both sides of the trenches, which to me is very important, in keeping the team competitive. So the Bucks suffered some serious injuries. You're losing Shaq Barrett, catastrophic injury, and Levante David wasn't 100% all season. So getting some depth in certain positions was definitely needed.
All right, so let's like right now, I guess. What is the feeling? I guess. I mean, look, as you guys went all in, you got your Super Bowl. It's been a question on this show that I've posed to people that's been very difficult for them to answer, I guess, and that is: would you rather have maybe 10 years of continued playoff success but not have a Super Bowl, or would you rather walk through the desert for 10 years and have a Super Bowl at the end? That's what you guys have done. You walked through the desert for 20 years, in a sense. You found the promised land with Tom Brady. But right now, it seems like a rebuilding, not seems like it is a rebuilding time, unless you think Baker Mayfield's going to keep you in it, which I don't think anybody's doing that. So how did this draft contribute to that rebuilding point, or do I have it wrong from the outside looking in?
The roles have reversed, Gene.
Well, to be honest, the way I'm seeing it, the Bucks still think they can win. New head coach, or not new, but second year. This will be his second year with Todd Bowles. They've gotten rid of your offensive coordinator in Byron Leftwich and replace him. And it's so much is up in the air. So much is just unknown that right now I don't want to sound like a cop out, but I can tell you about the draft picks. But as far as how everything else is going, you've got Mike Evans coming back. You've got Chris Godwin. You've got a lot of your regulars, Kate Otten, and some of your tight ends are coming back. You've got Ryan Jensen coming back off of injury. Leonard Fournette is gone. Donovan Smith, they've kind of moved on from him. So you've got some new pieces in there, and it's just remains to be seen how all this is going to all fit together.
Yeah. So first, before I ask any questions of you, Gene, the chat is loving that shirt.
They love it.
That
They're
you're
all
wearing.
over it.
Is that Mike Florio?
Yeah, you better believe it is.
Yeah, that's Mike Florio.
What? Yeah, it is.
From how old is he there? It looks young. It looks different.
No, I actually Super Bowl is in Arizona. I actually wore this over to where NBC was filming at, and I know somebody had to have seen it. I hate that guy.
Mike Florio, the lawyer. Man, did you get that custom made, or did you just stumble across it?
A friend of mine knows how much I dislike him, and he sent me one.
That's
that's a good friend. That's a good
friend. Because he knew I'd wear it in public. So
yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
So Gene, listen, great having you back on the show, man. And I, just joking around, I said we have reversed roles, man. It feels like a little while ago we were talking about, hey, maybe maybe Baker Mayfield could make the Panthers a contender in the NFC South and be that surprise team. Well, now I'm going to pitch that question back to you. I feel like you know how we felt about Baker Mayfield. I want to know what you think. Do you feel like Baker is in a good position to succeed, Or is it only a matter of time until Kyle Trask is under center?
There's still a lot of time left before the regular season. You never know. That I know the Bucs are still looking at the quarterback. So there's a lot of things that are still out there, and these are Panther leftovers. You talk about Teddy Bridgewater, and we've got Baker Mayfield here, and so these are guys that the Bucs are looking at to lead this team come day one. I just
full
don't.
off season though. Full off season's got to help him a little bit rather than
absolutely.
But they got into Carolina just like he got off the plane and had to play basically.
Yeah. So again, it's I'm hoping that the offensive coordinator can play to his strengths. I just find Baker Mayfield to be very emotional, and if somebody in the media says something or somebody says something and rubs in the wrong way, he'll go out and play good one week, and then the next week, so, and then he's inconsistent, and you just can't. That's just the way his NFL career has been going, I guess is what I want to say.
Tell us about your draft. Tell us what you got in the draft and what you think about it overall.
Oh, the draft. I'm pretty happy with it. Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. I know a lot of people knocked him because he's got shorter arms, but he's kind of built like this is my guy for the Rams, Aaron Donald. He's built like Aaron Donald. And when you consider that, he's been a very disruptive player, and he's really done some great things. I would say, 14 and a half sacks and 27 and a half tackles for loss in 2 years with Pitt. And he's going to be disruptive. I like the fact that they're going to put him next to Vita Vea, and I feel like if he plays to his potential, what we saw in college playing next to Vita Vea, that could be a real disruptive force in the middle, and it can cause problems for people trying to run the ball.
Yeah. Who's next? Round two.
Round two is Cody Mock. This is my favorite pick.
How can you not love this dude? I think I finally found a player on the Bucs that I like.
He looks like a Pixar character.
The fact that he's missing front teeth, I was like automatic. Let's get this guy and go fishing. We'll go out there and go fishing
or smoke meth together.
We'll cook a brisket or something together. This guy is what an offensive lineman looks like to me. I mean, him and Ryan Jensen, I can just,
if he gets his teeth fixed, I'm gonna be disappointed.
He's not gonna get them fixed. He did an interview and he talked about that. And
why does he not have teeth?
He likes it.
What, he took them out?
How
did he lose them?
He lost them in the 7th grade in a basketball game. And then when he got to college, he just stopped wearing them. He stopped using the veneers that he had in there.
Like the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's kind of like Michael Strahan's gap teeth. How it's like a personality trait at this point.
But I will tell you this is you don't want your offensive lineman to be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've learned about Tony though is he tends to have a type. It's white guys that look like they're from the Bible Belt in the 1980s. Like between him and Gardner
like Joe Dirt. I love Joe Dirt and Cam
Newton. It's French.
And Kid Rock.
And Kid Rock.
Yeah, and the one thing, Jason Light's done really well with kids from small market teams, small college teams. And I mean, you look back at Ali Marpet, and there have been some other offensive linemen that the Bucs have had, and North Dakota State. I mean, that just is right in Jason Light's wheelhouse right there.
Yep.
All right. So next up, this is a cool.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, what out of all the players in this draft, is there one that stuck out to you that that you're really loving? Like right now, the Panthers drafted
Yo Gabba Gabba, who was drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, like the Panthers are loving Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver that we drafted in the 2nd round.
It's got to be Cody Mock. It's got to be.
All right,
this guy. He's a nasty player. I mean, he plays right up until the whistle, and I think the one knock on him was his pass blocking. but that's coachable. I mean, he's got all the physical tools to really, be great and, get in there and protect the quarterback. So I think this is like probably one of my favorite picks. I love the trenches. I think that's, if you guys remember going back in the day, the Bucks did not have anything on either side, on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
So
it's been a weakness, but you guys did get better momentarily.
yeah.
There.
So when you've had players come through like your Hakeem Nicks and Ndamukong Suh has been in there. You've got Shaq Barrett. They drafted Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who's slowly coming along. So they've made some moves to continue to improve on that line, and they're going to continue to attack that.
Awful story broke today, or I think it was today that I read it first.
Yeah, sure.
Shaq Barrett's child drowned, which is so. I mean, the most horrific thing you can think of is not only do I have children, but I have a pool in my backyard. Thank God I didn't get it when my kids were young, but you have to. It's always occasionally we hear these wildly horrific and heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories. So our hearts go out to him, even and the Bucks and his family. Even though we don't like the football team, we understand that these people are really people. And man, I can't imagine living that. It reminds me of a story of and I forget the guy's name. I wouldn't know it, but it's been so long. He used to play tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, and the poor guy had a big full-size truck, and the kid was behind him. And and it's just like you can't. And I have children, and it's like these things can happen to any single one of us. It's so terrible to hear. So hopefully, not hopefully, is that hope whatever is. I mean, gosh, I can't imagine living with that for the rest of my life. Yo Gabba Gabba next though.
Yeah.
What a name this guy's got. What's this guy's name?
Yaya Diaby.
Yaya Diaby. Now that's y'all's t-shirt. That's y'all's t-shirt genius right there.
So again, addressing the linebacker position, that Levante David re-signed with the Bucks, which I was really happy about. And hopefully this is somebody
he did. Is this when he was saying that he was going to sit out? What'd they give him?
No, that's you're talking about
Devin White.
Devin White.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that situation. I'm unsure. Me, I'm honest about it. I'm not going to sit here and be a homer. Devin White is not. You can't give this guy max money just based on his play last year. I mean, he played good, but he didn't play over the top good where you give somebody a max contract. So
yeah, there was one point where people were comparing him to Luke Kuechly at one moment when he first came into the league.
I wanted to ask you that, Gene. A few weeks ago, it was a part of our show. There were rumors that he potentially wanted to be traded, gone to another team. And then people were kind of playing clips of him last year just looking terrible. Yeah. Was he just unmotivated to be there? And do you think that they will trade him?
I don't think the Bucks are going to trade him. I think they're going to, use him. This is a year where he can get some film out there, and maybe he can get that max contract. But again, there were times where he was a liability in coverage, and there were times where he just was going rogue and not taking care of his assignments. And it's just those are the little things, the little details that make great players. And if you guys know as well as I do, players like Luke Kuechly, he always had an eye for detail. He was always in the right place at the right time, and you didn't see him going out playing rogue. He was a guy that took care of his assignment and kept everybody else in line. He was like the quarterback on the defense when he was on the field. So we just haven't seen him get to that point where he's that guy who's controlling everything on the defensive side of the ball. It just hasn't occurred. And again, it's one of those things I just don't see how you can get this guy a max contract.
Yeah. Okay. Greg Sakay, you want to jump in, or Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go when you look at the way the Bucks have been built, right? They're still the same talented. I mean, really, from a large portion of it, they're still the same team that won the Super Bowl, right? From a roster standpoint, outside of the quarterback. I know we've, and I'm sure you've talked about the quarterback position ad nauseum as we have as Panthers fans. But what is the one thing or the one move that you think they need to make to be back at that same caliber of, or at least close to being the caliber of team that the talent around it should, would deem that it's, needs to be?
Ooh, that's a tough one because the jury's still out with me on the head coach. I'm going to be honest. I love Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. I would never have a problem with him being a defensive coordinator, but
he looks old and tired on the side.
And it kind of reminds me of with Dirk Cutter a little bit when Dirk Cutter was the head coach, went from offensive coordinator to head coach of the Bucks. And I'm just not 100% sure that this is the guy, because last year there was a game where the Bucks would have rather gone into overtime than taken a chance to go down and win the game. And that's coaching right there. And I was at that point, I really struggled to really
old
be
Ron
100%
Rivera move.
Yeah, to be 100% behind this guy, because we're so used to Bruce Arians, risking it and whatever you needed to do, and now you have somebody who's playing conservative, early 2000s, mid 2000s football is what you're kind of seeing. So I hope he can turn this around and lean on his offensive coordinator and let these guys play to their strengths is what I'm really hoping for. But I can tell you for a fact that your head coach and your quarterback are the two of the biggest and most important pieces on the team. I know that you have to factor in the rest of the team, but just going from Bruce Arians and Jameis Winston to Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, and you throw in some free agency pieces, and you've got a team that goes to the Super Bowl. And again, you have to have a quarterback that can come in and make good decisions, not just make plays with his legs, but be able to get the ball out as quickly as possible without putting a lot of stress on the offensive line as well.
How are you feeling about the NFC South and the layout now going forward as we go in? Because, we get so locked into the way we see our own teams. We're in this. We've been in this wild excitement because we got a new coaching staff, offensive coaching staff, which we have never had. Now we got our quarterback, so we feel like the sky's the limit. We're like, we're gonna win the NFC South. That's how we go.
It's definitely up for grabs. I think with the Saints brought in Derek Carr, which I'm not, whatever. And I just think that I look at the Saints and possibly Atlanta, competing for that NFC South title as well.
Fantastic stuff. Gene, are you on StreamYard these days? Is that what you rock with?
Yeah.
Okay, so StreamYard has a rebroadcast to your own channel feature now, where if we did something here on our channel, you can push it to your channel and monetize it yourself and do something. I think this might be the feature that brings back Southbound and Down.
We need to make it happen.
A once a month maybe, or a bi-weekly show where we get that going on, and we could just talk shit to Atlanta Falcon fans and Saints fans together. You and I just team up together.
I'm all for it, especially Atlanta. I'm all for it. I do not have a problem with that. So
somehow they were the laughing stock on day one for drafting a running back. And then somehow the media has gone and said they have like an A+ draft or some shit after this. I'm like,
the Panthers and the Bucks have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to these power rankings. It's absolutely hysterical. Did you see Dan Hanzus' power rankings there?
I haven't seen them.
They have the Bucks listed at 29th, and they have the Panthers at 25. They dropped us 7 spots after the draft. They moved.
How do you go down after you get your quarterback?
No, listen, this is even worse. They moved New Orleans up to 16 from down. They were at 28. They moved them up 12 spots because of Derek Carr. And I listen, I'm going to go through this rant, so bear with me. And then they had the Falcons listed ahead of all of us. They were listed at number 20. And I'm just sitting here thinking, all right, let's look at what we have in the. Let's just look at it from an objective position. The New Orleans Saints have
no cap space.
Derek Carr.
That's
right?
always.
Let's just talk about what they have. They have Derek Carr. They have Alvin
Michael
Kamara,
Thomas.
who might not
Alvin
even
Kamara
be there.
yep, he might do some time.
Right.
Which
Right.
he really should.
Time?
So, he should do some time based on what
He
we
should
saw in
do
that
some
video.
time.
Right?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't
he
see it.
did.
I need to go find the video.
Yeah, I mean, it was
He beat the brakes
clear
off
that he
that
did.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's going to have any defense at this, but anyway. But when a lot of people are like, they should go up in the power rankings because they have Derek Carr, who is like a good quarterback. And I'm like, do you guys realize what he did with the Raiders last year with the number one wide receiver in the NFL, the number one running back in the NFL,
The number one tight end. Darren,
well-
well, not number one, but Darren Wall or whatever that guy was. He's been fantastic for years. Yeah,
So
he was
I mean,
hurt, but-
he hasn't. And listen, I had him as like in my fantasy league, right? The dude was absolutely horrendous last year, and you're thinking he's going to go to a new offense, learn again with a new offense with a Michael Thomas who's always questionable, like that. You really believe that this is about to happen? Like I cannot.
And Michael Thomas is old. He won't. He's a old possession receiver. Josh in the chat said
don't think
Carr
he's
is
old.
decent. Carr is decent, and that's it. At the best, he's. Decent.
I'm with CK. I drafted him last year in my fantasy league, and he disappointed me. So I'm not
just
down with
disappointed.
that thing.
He like when you have Devontae. I don't know how Devontae Adams would have like 30 points in a game, and Derek Carr would still only have a net of 10 points. Like it didn't make any sense. But it was like the dude found a way to
He's
not
just
be a good
mid,
quarterback.
man. He's two touchdowns, 2 interceptions every week, 225 yards. Gene, great stuff. Tell us where they can get after you. Buck What You Heard, man. My favorite podcast title of all times. You've been right. I mean, it really is. It's like I wish it wasn't for the Bucks or the team. It's such a good the name for the podcast. I always say that when I see you. You've been like us though. You've been rocking for a long time in these streets, man. It's
You know
great.
what's funny? Real quick, I'm noticing there have been some Carolina Panthers podcasts that have kind of popped up on my YouTube. I feel like I'd be cheating on my girl if I went and watched them. So I'm like, I'm not interested. And I kind of move on. So where were you guys when the Panthers were losing and they were southbound and down basically? But
yeah. Well, I mean, we're on these streets, right? Together, we've been on these streets for a minute.
I know there's room for everybody else, but when the new stuff comes along, whatever. C3 is where I get my information. I've been getting my intel from you guys, so.
This is the best way, guys. This is what we do. This is the same for me. Is like if I want to know about the Bucks or the Saints, I go check out the people that I've known that have been doing this and just intimately following it closely for a long time. They give a lot of good context, and we get. That's what I think our shows do. Is we don't just react to a headline, but we give a long-term context of things. To the fact that I'm putting out stories right now on CarolinaCatChronicles.com about how Cam Newton's injury in 2014 and Brian Burns' injury in this offseason could be so. It's like it's not just what's been happening, but what is happening with Buck What You Heard, and how can our fans go find you? When are you going on the YouTubes next?
I'll be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Buck What You Heard on YouTube. You follow me on Twitter, Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I love talking football, and this is going to be a fun season. Nobody knows what the other teams got going on. I mean, we got a new offensive coordinator here in Tampa and some new faces, and the Panthers just have a totally new look. I mean, there's no film on Carolina this year, so.
We might be back to normal, Gene, and that is that every year it's a different team at the top of the NFC South. You remember that's how it was for a long time, is that it was just from last to first, from first to last. It kept things exciting. Hopefully we're at the top. Gene, great stuff, man. Everybody go check out Gene Thomas at Buck What You Heard. Man, we're going to be getting back together a lot more now in this offseason.
Oh, I love you guys, man. Great show, great content. Keep it up, man.
You're the man, Gene.
Thank you, Gene.
All right, what do we got next, Cody? Good stuff there. Getting a little intel next week. Going to try to link up with our old friend Bob Rose. Going from the Canal Street Chronicles and some other, like we rock with a lot of people going way back. It's time to, now that we've gotten the draft settled, it's time to look around into free agency. What have other teams done, and really get some intel about what the NFC in general is, and the NFC South, because yes, we feel like we're in a good position. And I feel like we really have a real opportunity, but we got to know what these other teams are doing. Thanks, Gene, for that insight. What do we got up next?
Yeah, man. Well, let's talk about the guy that we traded up into the third round for, defensive lineman DJ Johnson. Now, I feel like out of every draft pick that the Panthers made, this was by far the most controversial. Because
nobody knew his name. That's why.
Yeah, and also, let's be real. The first highlight that you saw of Buddy was him punching a fan in the back of the head, dude.
Like him already.
Yeah, so the dude has an edge to him. Let me read what's on the screen here.
I got you.
He played in 11 of Oregon's first 12 games, making 10 starts. Led the Ducks with a career high 6 sacks, tied for 5th most in the Pac-12. Second on the team with a career high of 8.5 tackles for loss, 39 total tackles, including 15 solo. And, the thing about
played
him
both sides of the ball, Cody. The year before he played this, and people forget this, or at least not for. And maybe it's not as much in big programs, but I know this happens at East Carolina, my alma mater, a lot. Is that guys all of a sudden will be playing tight end, then they'll play defensive end, then they go and recruit athletes, and then they try to figure out how to use them. So, this past year, it seems like they found his place. He, got some sacks, but they talk a lot about his power and his strength, not just his speed.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what you're kind of looking for with this guy. This is his RAS numbers, 8.39. And, some areas he did incredibly well. And then some areas, he isn't necessarily the most nimble of players. He's a very powerful guy. How about this, though? 6'4", 275 pounds.
Or 260 is what Scott Fitterer said.
I mean, he's probably a little bit more than that. He's listed as a little bit more than that. This man is powerful in the hands. So one of the things that you're going to love about him is his ability to defend the run. And that's part of the reason why Panther fans are starting to warm up to this pick. Now, we did trade up for him, and I still have it in my mind that the Panthers panicked a little bit because they saw that there was a run on defensive ends happening, and they wanted to make sure that they secured their guy. And that's what they did. So, Greg, CK, what say you while I play some clips of the man?
I don't really know enough about him, to be truly honest with you, and that's part of the reason why I said I wasn't insanely impressed. And you mentioned that right beforehand. But we need help in this area. So depth is always good. I'm going to give the guy a chance because there's been plenty of third-round picks that have come out and been just fine. So we were screaming for help on the other side for Brian Burns. So I want to see what this guy can do.
Yeah, I mean, here's my official position. Pretend like I'm a guy who hasn't watched anything Panthers related for the past 5 or 6 days since the draft, and then just talk to me like I'm a toddler.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here, let's have Scott Fitterer talk to us like we're Panther fans.
Round 3, you got DJ Johnson. There are a lot of folks wondering about this pick and why you zoned in on DJ Johnson. Talk me through this, and why was he not only worth a third-round pick, but trading up for to go get him?
Yeah, I think we had to understand from our defensive staff, what are you looking for in these outside backers? On the other side, we have Brian Burns, who's long, athletic, really dynamic off the edge. On this side, they needed someone who could really set the edge and also get after the quarterback. And there's some other pass rushers in this draft who were probably in the 230 range and just couldn't quite do what our defense was going to ask them to do. And DJ had the body type, and he's got the upside that our coaches wanted to work with. Like I said, he is strong. He can do speed to power, and you can see the speed chasing backside. He's got a ton of upside to him. He's a guy that's played tight end and defensive end. And really, he was one of the last big bodies on the board that could play that role for us. And just the conviction from our staff Our scouts liked him, and we thought, hey, listen, let's go get him. If we lose him, it's gonna be hard to replace a guy like that. There's not another big body like this, so let's be aggressive and let's just go get him. And he fits what we need.
Is he somebody, not to belabor the point, and look, I know this stuff has to play itself out on the field, but being that he's a little bit older at 24 years old already, is this a guy that you look at who might be more ready to contribute right away this year, or is he more of a project?
I think the way the coaches are going to use him, he'll be on the field right away.
Okay.
The plan is for him to be out there rushing opposite Burns. We'll have Vitor out there. We'll have Barno, Marquise Haynes. But he's that big body, like I said, can set that edge, play physical. And you don't find too many guys that are 6'4", 260 that can run 4.4 and chase them from backside like he can. So, despite what's being said out there about him, we're really excited about him.
Yeah, so guys, this is one of the things where I don't know if I necessarily agree all the way with Fitter. It's not that he's not going to see the field, but when you look at his film, he definitely is going to need some polish in terms of adding some extra pass rush maneuvers. So, yeah, he does have an incredible speed to power bull rush. He's very physical, very strong. I mean, again, the dude is 260 plus pounds and ran a 4.49. Like, the dude has all that athletic potential, but he tends to get hung up when he loses his reps against opposing tackles or even interior offensive linemen. So he's going to have to develop those extra pass rush maneuvers to be able to disengage and get to the quarterback. He's going to need a fresh coat of polish, and I don't necessarily know how long that's going to take for DJ. So, I don't want everyone to have too much hopes that, he's going to come out and be the next Greg Hardy for the Carolina Panthers. Hey, we hope so. Without all of the off the field issues too, certainly. But you're hoping that
not a good start.
You're hoping that you're gonna get that kind of a player out of him, but pump the brakes because it might not happen right away.
I was a little surprised at how quick he was to say you expect to see him on the field.
Yeah, he said they plan on putting him on the field.
I mean, I was a little surprised because usually they just go, "Oh, we're gonna it's competition." But I mean, he really is backing this pickup. I wonder if he's feeling kind of not the heat, but hearing the news, hearing the words about the trade up for him and some different things there. But they went and got a player for a scheme. This is a scheme fit player that they went and got. I tell you this is I've never had a 3-4 defense for the Carolina Panthers that worked. Right. The only times that we've tried to do it have been forced, and maybe the personnel and the coaching wasn't best at it. Now the 3-4 defense has always given us fits, given us crazy fits as an offense. But one thing though is going back, there was a time, Cody. Now the typical defensive end, like there was a time where they didn't have the term edge. Right. It was just defensive end. They didn't call him edge. Like, it's like, oh, this is a pass rusher. Oh, like that's a specialist. But there was a time where teams were trying to find these magical players. Maybe not like a Julius Peppers, because maybe Peppers is actually a guy who actually could have potentially done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, is big and fast and agile enough, athletic enough where he can get in a cut, like do these things. But we saw even this is problems with Brian Burns. Like, it was like you're dropping back your best pass rusher in the coverage. That sucks. But the NFL has always been looking for players to fit the 3-4 defense. And it is a skill. It's a physical skill set that you have to go after. Maybe not just a great player. The guy that comes to mind is a dude from Kinston, North Carolina that went to UNC Chapel Hill, who a lot of Carolina Panther fans wanted at one point. I think it was about 2012, maybe. He went to the New York Jets. His name was Quentin Coples. He actually, I think, played for the Panthers on our in the preseason or something, like in the training camp and got cut or something like this. But you're always projecting on a skill set in that 3-4, and that's the tough. But until I see the 3-4 defense work for the Carolina Panthers, I'm still gonna have a little
some trepidation.
Yeah.
Well, also one of the downsides of a 3-4 is that it's not necessarily the greatest against defending the run. And
Right.
to me, that's why
That's how
they
you
drafted,
beat it, right?
Yeah, like that's why they drafted
This guy.
DJ Johnson, because he's big and powerful enough to be able to set a physical edge when these nimble defensive backs are bouncing it to the edge. Hey, you want to see him punch a fan on the back of the head?
Why not? I mean, maybe they deserved it.
Oh, I mean, well, hey, this is. I mean, and by the way, credit to Big John from One Carolina, because I heard him say that first on his show, and that was very funny to me. That this really is the first thing. If you were on Twitter after the pick was made, this is the first thing that you
This
saw.
is how we got to know you. Oh.
Yeah, his coaches were mad as hell.
On the road, a guy with a cowboy hat.
It's the dude in the
I wonder
cowboy
what
hat.
he said.
And he just goes, "Oh." Now, somebody said that might have been a player and not a fan, that he just wasn't in pads or something.
Well, whatever.
Still
Okay, well, you know what? That probably doesn't make it.
I'm just telling you what I heard, brother.
I wonder.
don't
I'm
know
surprised. You know, is at least he? Well, you know, one thing we haven't heard is what was it when Myles Garrett got into this? You know what he said. You know, there's a way. Like we haven't heard that. It's like there's a reason that I did it. You know, I wonder. I mean, obviously, the guy said something. You can't be that upset about just losing a college football game.
You never know. I mean, maybe he just hates to lose. You know,
Okay.
you never
And he
know.
hates dudes in stupid ass cowboy hats. I like him
Yeah.
already. You know what Dion said? Dion said, I want my quarterback from a two-parent household, and I want my defensive ends that punch fans in the back of the head. I said that's what I heard.
Yeah, Dion's funny, man. He's
All right.
old school in that way. Well, let's continue. We're almost done with the draft picks. And I mean, listen, if not for the Jonathan Mingo pick, this might be the true fan favorite, Tony. And it's Chandler Zavala. Hey, you're messing me up here, bro.
I know, my bad.
All right. So Chandler Zavala and I'm
NC State guy, which you know is and we wanted.
Yeah,
they play together.
Him and Kim Kwanu played next to one another. But listen to this, man. 615 pass block snaps, 0 sacks allowed in his career. This is not season. This is career. And 1 quarterback hit allowed. I mean, this dude is a mauler at the guard position. And there's a clip.
Walala, it's Zavala.
Zavala packs a wallop, makes you want to holler.
Hey, can I ask what's going on with teams now wanting to team up players who played together in college? And I get it to a certain extent, it's great, but are you basically just letting college coaches set the rosters for the NFL now?
No, I think it's
Like,
probably a big. I don't think it's that they played together. I think fans make that link. I think we make.
There are a ton of teams who are drafting players who played together in college. Look at Joe Burrow and his wide receiver. Look at the offense.
Well, that's a different story because that's like a connection thing. And by the way, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow also had together the most phenomenal.
Greg, I would even say that it's more important for offensive linemen because they work in such a tandem, and the fact that these two dudes have a history literally playing right next to each other. In fact, here they are. This is, I believe they had, so this is him at guard, and this is Kim Kwanu at left tackle. And listen, they do a great job of making a run lane for that running back. I mean, they have history with one another. And I love that you see my man being able to pull. This is what NFL teams do now. You have to be able to pull your guards across the formation and get a blocker out in front of your running back. And Miles Sanders is going to be able to take advantage of this type of stuff.
He's an East-West guy. Yeah, Miles Sanders.
Well, the type of chemistry that him and Icky have, that's probably a real benefit to why they drafted him. I'm interested in what they do at left guard now because I've been a big fan of Brady Christensen. and everyone's trying to relegate him to the bench like his they want him to be a swing tackle or something. And
why? He really stepped up into an important role last year.
Right, and he
had
never
a lot
played
of
the
success.
position before.
This
and,
is
and
look,
played
is that
well.
those are people. Actually, I don't know who's actually saying it, but there were a group of people who didn't like Brady Christensen. Maybe they were reacting to you because you loved him. Maybe these are a certain group of Panther fans that said, "Oh, because Cody doesn't like him, we're going to dislike him."
Right.
Yeah. And then they lock on to Cade Mays somehow, and that like all of a sudden he's supposed to be phenomenal. But the line was at its best when we had Brady Christensen and Bradley Bozeman. Yeah, that's holding like a motherfucker.
Holding like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the definition of holding.
Yeah.
That's the worst holding you can do. You're not even holding on the inside.
Don't show this anymore. It's not making me impressed with this guy.
Turn that up. Brady Christensen, you are winning right now. No, but like I am excited about this is that we were searching for, what did I say? Is like continue to load up at these position groups. And we were doing these mock drafts, man. And we were trying to find these guys. Dude, was he 64? Yeah.
You can't.
No, that's not a hold. That's a position.
You can't grab him and throw him to the ground.
That's not a hold. No, dude, that's like a judo toss. You're flipping him. You're not grabbing him.
You can do that.
Yeah, and dude, my man is a beast, man. My
inside
man
the pads. But that poor little guy, look at that. What's he gonna do? We gotta see what he's gonna do in the NFL. Yeah,
he got parallel with the ground look.
Yeah, but hey, look, is keep adding.
He didn't give up a sack in his entire college.
He only had 772 holding calls, though.
Right?
No, I don't know.
It looks like he likes to grab a lot of jerseys. All I'm saying.
Zavala, hot make you want to holla. And let's see. This is we're shopping some things around here. Greg's in the background. He's in the lab.
Yeah.
What we got here? We got a little Mingo, Bazingo.
Yeah.
What we got here? Let's see what we're working on. Let's see. And you know what? We need this is that so many of our fans, or not our fans, our community, have taken such an investment in our show, which I love. They joined the C3 gang on Twitter. They send us clips. We've had people design backgrounds for us. Who was it in Germany? Like it was
Coach designed one of our backgrounds. Yeah.
Right. So we love when you guys take ownership of this show. Remember, CarolinaCatChronicles.com is our sandbox. If you want to write, you want to do anything. If you want to find a way of an idea for the website that doesn't even have to be an article, it could be some sort of feature that we can do of whatever. We want you to make C3 because we can't do this by ourselves. We haven't done it by ourselves, and it's not for us. It's with us. We're doing it together. So if you got ideas, if you've got some design skills, particularly for t-shirts, which would be great, but you got to use the vector software. I know people can send us a lot of great pictures, like a lot of great images, but it's really hard to get them onto t-shirts unless they're designed in the right programming. That's the key here. Thanks. Big shout out to Lynn Leonhardt, who has been so gracious and designed so many of our things in the past.
I've been talking with her a lot lately. Yeah,
she's wonderful.
I run all my designs by her. Yeah.
But that's the thing. What do we got here? What's Greg in the lab cooking up right now? Just a little brainstorming activity here.
Oh, this one's simple, man. I'm trying to design a whole bunch of different kinds of t-shirts. I'm working on the Bryce is Right, Bryce Up Son, the Mingo Bingo shirt, and then I have two different just C3 Panther fandom shirts. So we got to have one for the football, the Ultimate Fantasy League, the giveaway for the Ultimate Fantasy League.
Yeah.
And then just one for the season for next year. But I did put it in the I don't know if y'all want to share it. I put it in the group chat.
Where is it? It's in the
okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
But this one doesn't look too bad, I don't think.
Oh, you know what? This actually is this one. This is something like this could really work. The other thing, though, is Greg, is that we could do something to the effect of what if we did. I mean, that's a Mingo Bingo card, like CK was suggesting. But you could also maybe do just offensive numbers, like I9 or B9, Bryce Young B9, right?
There you go.
Like, and it could just be numbers, and it could just be Mingo bingo, and then like we could just put a line through it and say touchdown or something. I don't know. All of these, we need you guys to continue to help us. I love this Mingo bingo card. At the very least, we're making them and we're playing them this year, like just cards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually like the layout of this card and all the stuff on it. I could do this and randomize where the stuff's at, and we could pass out. I could email people Mingo bingo cards to print out and play.
Or we can just here's the other thing we can do is you can have people put like have it be like a contest of saying basically somebody create your own bingo card, or maybe we make we give the different categories, and whoever gets bingo first throughout the season wins X, Y, or Z. They just have to. We can assign
do
those.
something like a secret gamble thing, because we can maybe do this on Discord where you buy a Mingo card for $1. Won't tell anybody.
Can you trademark your last name? Tribe of Judah says make sure he doesn't have a trademark. So
Don't worry. This small stuff like this is small potatoes, baby. Like, sue us.
Right.
Sue us, bro.
Joke's
If
on you.
Mingo sues us, it's like we're gonna
Joke's
get
on you.
so much publicity.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, you're right. You can have the $8 we made on these t-shirts. You're right. Bingo Mingo card. You're right. We'll give you all the profits times 10, and that's $100.
Could we also reach out to him about maybe saying like portions of every shirt sold would go to charity or something like that?
Well, we do the charity thing. This is we first started our first one this year. This was Greg's idea, great one. And that on the bye week, because we have a week to kind of burn where we are going to do the show no matter what, we have the bye week charity drive. And maybe we could do Mingo bingo cards for charity.
Yeah.
I like that.
That'd be pretty cool.
I like that. Yeah.
That would be cool.
The next player that we have up on the docket is Jamie Robinson. And listen, I give credit where credit's due, man. Shout out to Twan Don. I was making fun of him because every time I'm on his show, he'd mention Jamie Robinson out of FSU, Jamie Robinson out of FSU. And then he was actually with us. I got up, I did an impromptu show for day 3 of the draft. G Baby literally called my phone, said, "Hey, get your ugly ass up and do a stream." So I said, "Hey, man,
awesome." Cody sent me a message. He said, they guilted me into this. I looked up and there's like 250 people watching.
Yeah, dude.
No wonder you're ahead of the C3 man. Don't get no big idea. Twan Don gonna make Cody go out on his own.
Dude, listen, man. So shout out to Twan because this was somebody that he was really loving. And then no one really saw this coming. Like the fact that we have Xavier Woods, you signed Von Bell, you already have Jeremy Chin. This is it kind of caught people by surprise, but man, people are loving this dude already. He was in Atlanta when he got the call, and one of his next door neighbors was a Panther fan and handed him a Panther beanie hat.
Oh, nice.
First, and handed him a first.
Fuck the Falcons, bitch.
Yeah, man. And also another interesting thing to show you how ready this dude is to come in and play. He was the first drafted player to sign his contract.
This is wild. Like he showed up, he's like, "I'm ready to go, motherfuckers. You ain't gonna get him out of the building."
Yeah, man. The dude is awesome.
I hope he's great, but Cody, I gotta say this. I gotta say it. I hope he's great. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, man.
Or very little about him.
Go ahead.
But how many times have we gotten hype about these 5th round defensive backs? Yeah, like look, you know what is right now? I think the bar for this guy is Trey Boston. Right, is like if you can, like Trey Boston arguably had the best career for the Carolina Panthers in that 5th round spot or whatever, that deep round spot. We've caught a couple of guys back there. We think, man, these guys are really gonna stick. We're gonna hit somebody. So I hope this is the dude. I love his attitude already. You know what he said? He said there's not 100 and I think it was what was the number he was drafted? Yeah, this is what you want from a safety.
Yeah, so
140
listen, I'm not.
Was it 144?
Yeah,
He said this
144,
is
something
whatever
like that.
the number was. As he said, there aren't 143 guys better than me in this draft. Like he already pulled the Cam Newton, the randos out.
But dude, I love it though. Man, he jumped on IG Live. I'm not playing the music, obviously, but man, he was turned up, bro.
Too much red for my.
Dude is ready to come in and compete with the Carolina Panthers. And if you listen to the interview, and not even the interview, but when Federer called him up, and then he let Ivero talk to him, he said, "Man, I'm looking in there I'm looking to come in to compete to be a starter." And
I love that
the
attitude.
dude has the dog mentality, man. So he's pumped up to be a Panther. He signed the contract, and then Pickle, he messaged me this morning and said someone on WFNZ said that Federer said that next year they're hoping that he's going to be a day one starter for the Panthers.
I think this
so
is
they really loved him.
I think this is another good example of while this draft at some point seems like you're like, why the heck did we get like some of these, like the wide receiver in the second round here is like the Xavier Woods, who's the guy that we brought in, Von Bell. These are short-term answers. These are bridge pieces. So I like this idea is that they're looking towards bringing in people that are going to be stepping into bigger roles in the future too. So I think there's some wisdom in the background here about some of these selections that it's hard to see at these moments because we're so looking at this season, what's going on, and we just look at the roster and go, what are our needs?
Yeah. And, he's a strong safety type of player. I mean, if you look at his highlights, dude, he is running downhill. He is a thumper. He has a nose for the football. I mean, he's a great depth pick. He kind of reminds me a lot of Von Bell.
Well, which is perfect guy to study behind, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally the perfect guy for him to study behind. Go ahead, Greg.
I would say the good thing about drafting the safety is, I mean, you've always got the possibility of switching to cornerback. When you play in safety,
yeah.
I mean, it's actually a slightly easier position. So if you're really good at safety, you might be better cornerback. So this guy knows coming on this team, I'd be as happy as he is if all I would have to think was, all I got to do is beat out CJ Henderson and I can start. All I got to do is beat out CJ Henderson and I can start. That's easy. So
well, you have to have the hips. you have to have the hips to be able to play a cornerback. And shout out to Drew Irvin. He also says it'll probably lead to a lot of production on special teams. I agree with that notion. I do think he'll be a great special teamer, especially early in his career. But one of the things that's been brought up is that Ejiro Evero, there's going to be a lot of times on the field this year where the Panthers have 5 defensive backs on the field. So they want to be multiple and plentiful.
Running 3-3-5 again?
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of nickel types of formations.
Right. He said it seems like they did that a lot with Denver, right? They didn't have a great defensive front, but somehow it does seem a different way maybe than we're accustomed to for building a defense.
So this pick and the the Jonathan Mingo pick, they were both 2 positions that were favored in free agency. We made some real moves at the wide receiver and safety position, and yet they still drafted one of both. I think that's that
future look I'm talking about. Is it's not about this year; it's about how we're going to continue to transition beyond these players that we just acquired. And it's also
sort of philosophical that there are our front office. They're on that best player available train. That they're not going to shop hungry. Like David Gettleman once.
I don't know if we really saw that in this draft, though, Cody. I don't know if we went best player available. I felt like it was a real scheme fit.
Okay.
For this is because, for instance, the defensive end we got, some of these guys are. I feel, and you know what? To be honest, let's just be fair. Is the best player available shit is sort of bullshit. It truly is. It truly is.
It depends on what you need.
No. Here's the thing: is all right. So there's 2 reasons that best player available is kind of bullshit.
Okay.
Number one is best player available works in like the top 40 or 50 draft picks. Right? Is that because who the fuck can really tell us who is the difference between a 132nd pick and a 142 pick? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that there's not a real, that's just preference at that point. There's not a arguable difference between those people. The other thing is, the other reason that kind of best player is kind of bullshit is like, if you have a player if you have a quarterback, look, is the Bears didn't draft a quarterback this year. Best player available would have been a quarterback. So there are a couple of reasons. There's a couple of anomalies. And so I do believe what you do is you set yourself up, like Dave Gettleman always said, you use free agency to set yourself up to not be backed into a corner where you can pick best player available. But I think after the second round, and you know what, to be honest, I think after pick 50, it's just preference. Who the real, like, how the hell do you truly say best player available when the guys are roughly all the same in a certain way? It's like, what's really the difference between the number 88 pick and the number 77 pick? You know what? It's just who fucking took them and when.
Yeah. Tony, I completely disagree with you on this. I have the exact opposite mindset. You say best player available is only for the first 1 through 40 picks, and after that,
I just made a number, but like, all right,
I get it. But you're saying the first round, the ones that are going to make the most impact. I say the ones in the first round, the first 40 picks, are the ones that you're picking on preference because you make moves to move up to get these players that you maybe didn't even need to do. When you get to the point where you're past these players, then you're just taking whoever the best available player is for depth. The first few rounds, you're taking the people you prefer. I mean, think about it. The Texans traded up to get Will Anderson. Will Anderson's a bad example. Let me think about the Lions. The Lions traded up for preference. Didn't need to.
Who? For the running back? They didn't trade it for a running back, did they?
They did trade up. Yeah, they traded.
But that's just dumb.
Well, either way, that's what I'm saying. So in the first round or two, first round and a half, 2 rounds, you're drafting for preference. You are looking at the best players available, but everybody in those first 100 picks are all pretty decent players. After that, you're going for the best player available to fill depth on the team. In my opinion,
if we all had, first of all, shout out to my co-hosts. They have beautiful wives, right? So imagine y'all didn't have beautiful wives and you had average wives. And we all argued about who was the most beautiful out of the average. Right? Like, really, it's like, what I'm saying is this, is like, who really
But there's no guarantee that they're at, even though they might, in aggregate.
44, you could have
right, but that's what I'm saying.
Picked somebody else here, Cody. If we would have picked some other player, you would have been like, oh, I could tell you a million reasons why he's fucking fantastic. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not, you cannot tell me that if you're picking 144, that you go, you know what? The guy 147.
But listen,
BPA.
Tony, but
we gotta go BPA here.
I think they do.
But hold on, here's the difference, though. We're looking at it from a fan perspective. You have to understand that the Panthers and all these NFL teams, they have been combing over film for months at a time.
But it's still preference.
They might know that their receiver core or their defensive back unit or whatever has more glaring holes than other parts of their team.
That supports my point.
But through your evaluation process, if you have a defensive tackle who is a better player than any of the other cornerbacks or linebackers or whatever you might need more of that's left on the board, sometimes you just take the player that is more talented because you believe that you're going to be able to get
That's
more
just so subjective, though.
out
You're
of
acting
that
like
player.
You guys are acting like it's objective, though. No, when you say best player available, you're acting like that's an objective feature.
Right.
It's not.
That's the problem.
The whole point that is this is that they had 1,300 draft players that they scouted. They had 150 players on their board. There was 150 play. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that they're not just like, it's not like, oh, well, we have a choice between this guy and this guy, who's the best player. I mean, it's that, I think that's too simple. I think that's too mathematical of an equation here.
So what's the other question then, Tony? If you're in that position and you say, okay, we have this guy and we have this guy, what's the deciding factor if it's not best player available? If it's not the fact that we don't necessarily need another cornerback, we don't need a defensive tackle, but this guy is better than this guy.
I got your
What's
answer.
the deciding factor?
There was a run on this position. This position's thinning out here. So you could say something to the effect of, is that like, yeah, we've got this guy ranked best player available, but if we get to the next round, our next offensive guard is so far down on the list in comparison, while our safety could be relatively close to this. So I think there are some other factors in like how position groups, the depth of position groups, the position of your next pick, the people that are going off the board at that moment, what other teams are evaluating at that moment. So I just don't fully believe it's like you can put a score on each player and just say, well, we have them ranked at this guy is 1.87 and this guy is 1.86. So let's pick the 1.86 guy. I think that's too. I think we give them too much credit sometimes.
So then what do you think is separating them? Like, what do you think makes them make a pick over the other? Because at the end of the day, and this is what people are saying about our draft, we needed a linebacker, or most people thought that we needed a linebacker. We're going to talk about our cornerbacks.
I think
here
we
in
went
a minute.
after this defensive
A lot of
end
people
for
thought
need.
that we needed a corner really bad on this team. The fact that we drafted positions that we had already filled upon in free agency says that, yeah, just because we might need a corner doesn't mean that we're just going to take a guy that, we think is going to be the best. We're trying to get someone that's going to be a legit talent on this football team.
Well, one, right away, I would say this is that when you say need, like what we need, I think looking in the short-term and long-term needs are different. So that's why I think this Mingo pick, I think also this safety pick here are good examples of that. They're not necessarily even picks that are about this year, while they believe they could be contributors this year. It's about building a team that has some longevity and some future. I think another thing that goes into this, again, so the question was, pose the question one more time. If it's not best player available, what is it? Oh, so
But
you
yeah,
acted like this.
just,
It's like
how
you acted like
how are they selecting these players if they're not choosing best player available?
Right.
Because it's clear that
I think it's best player. I think what we should say is this: it's best
I'm going
player.
to David. I promise. Go ahead. Tony.
It's an equation. All right. I think that it's an algorithm instead of a number. Right. And so I don't think it's necessarily I think best player available oversimplifies it. I think sometimes it's best player available times position of need times future vision.
That's a better way to look at it, I think.
Future scheme and stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is because some of this is schematic too. Is imagine if you said best player available, but then you pick a guy that really doesn't fit what you're trying to do in the future.
Yeah, and looking at our undrafted free agent list, which we'll bring up here in a minute, a lot of defensive players. So it tells me that this move to a 3-4, they're really hoping that they get the right kind of players to be able to build
it's a
the
big
type of
transition
defense that we're getting ready to run. But to the super chats, David Screws with the $2 says, I read a report that Fidger is looking at XFL players.
Okay.
Hey, brother, I wouldn't know. I have not watched 1 second of the XFL, man.
Neither have I.
Not even one.
I haven't, but everybody that I've heard say that's good. And there's a story on The Athletic right now that I've been meaning to read, and it's like, I watched the XFL, so you don't have to. Like, so I could tell you what you're. It's cool. I've been meaning to read it because it's probably going to be favorable about it, and there is real talent in those. Look, PJ Walker, think about that. There are players that are going to make rosters in there. All right. And this this is a good segue too here.
Well, you're gonna hit Kev's thing real quick with the protect the bow. I love that Bojangle Stadium, but you got to do protect the jangle. I mean, come on, it's got to be the Carolina jangle, right? If you're gonna have Bojangles,
I like the bank, man. If the
I like
bank,
the bank
if,
too, yeah.
if Bank of America pulls out of this shit, what are they gonna need a bailout? David Tepper and these banks. I feel like he's pretty tight with bank. Didn't Bank of America, wasn't that the stock he made all his money on? I'm pretty sure that's the one he bought at $3 or whatever, and then rocketed it up afterwards.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not.
No, because remember in 08,
in 08,
all the banks went down. It was 08. It was 08. I was getting out of graduate school, and the banks were just a mess. You had Wachovia going out of business. You had some different ones. You had Lehman Brothers failing, and that's David Tepper. That's where he made his money, is buying low. He bought, I think it was Bank of America at like $3, and then it went up to 33. So he bought like 300 billion, and then he went up to 3 billion afterwards or whatever.
Yeah. So let's run through a few of these. Dude, these layouts are really fucking with me. So let's jump through a few of these right quick. If I can pick one that I can actually
that we
see.
like. All right, I can read it. Right? Other draft.
No, you're good. Jonathan Mango. So this is just the numbers, and this came out today. Jonathan Mingo wearing number 15 for the Panthers. DJ Johnson, number 52. A lot of people said, ew, that was Tahir Whitehead's number.
And also John Beeson's number, wasn't
it?
That's
then someone responded, that's John Beeson's number. So maybe he can revive
fans making everything complicated.
I love the number 52.
Chandler Zalava, number 62. And how about Jamie Robinson wearing Christian McCaffrey's old number already?
Interesting.
Wearing the number 22. And,
he wasn't here long enough for us to retire his jersey or honor it, even really, to be honest with you. I love Christian McCaffrey, but you can't honor that number right now.
Yeah, man, and he didn't do enough. He had one great season. It's not like a retirement number.
He had a great career. He just
a good career.
We didn't do you can have a great career, but we don't accomplish anything, and you're not going to get your number retired.
He didn't have the career
I
that
agree 100%.
Did. He didn't have
by
anywhere.
the way, do people realize?
Went to a Super Bowl and had a 15
but by the way, do people realize a team like for example, the Dallas Cowboys that have been around a lot longer than us, they have some legendary Hall of Fame players.
You can't retire everybody's number.
Yeah, that have played at certain numbers. Players are going to have to fill that numbers. It's like a rite of passage for the Cowboys to wear the number 88 for them. Eventually the Panthers are going to have to start to do this too.
Do like the NBA does, where I think the NFL does it like this too, where like you said, you can buy the number. You can just say Walter Payton. I'm sure his number is probably 34.
Nah, there's some numbers that go away. You have to. I feel like Walter Payton's in that list.
There are some, but there are some that you can. If you they've had players call the actual player, see if you can use it, and after that, after
they need their position
leaves team, that number gets retired again.
Look, we use Pepper's number. Sideshow says this, and he's always got great comments. He said we need to look to the Lingerie Football League for talent.
Legends Football League is what it's called now. Sorry.
Oh, well, I want to know. You remember aren't we the first team that had the trans cheerleader? I wonder if that's if that remains. My question about this is, and I don't want to go off on a tangent. I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
But I'm in a school, I work in a place where those conversations are prevalent, right? In some ways, I think there's kind of trendiness to this discussion too. There's a trend. So I wonder if I'm just interested. Will that cheerleader be there next year, or was it just a storyline? Will it be a long?
Hey, can I talk about lingerie football for a sec? Those chicks. If you watch the highlights of the lingerie football league,
they're laying each other out.
They annihilate each other, dude. It is legitimately fun to watch.
Gosh, I want to get fucking destroyed by one of them.
Is it 7-on-7, Cody? I can't remember. It's 7-on-7, right?
Yeah, it's 7-on-7.
It's like American Gladiators meets football.
It kind of is, to be true. That's a great comparison, to be truly honest with you. Yeah.
I know everybody.
I always felt weird about being sexually attracted to those women gladiators because they were so D's.
Nah.
Like they were diesel,
Oh,
bro.
dude,
Them
I'd let them crush my head like a
I was gonna
watermelon.
say, what I'm walking to you
Between
right
their
now,
thighs,
that wouldn't
bro.
matter.
Fucking, I'm ready for it, dude.
It was just, I was but I was young, man. The American Gladiators. I always
Hell
wondered.
yeah.
It was like, that's always one of those things. Look, we had this conversation a while back about if you're a parent and you think you can, like, so when I started working out and I thought I was like, oh, I was going to race my kid. And I thought I was going to be able to beat him in his foot race, and he's 13 or whatever. And I was like, I can hang with him. I'm like pulling a hammy in this. Is you always watch American Gladiators? It was like, I wonder if I could fucking, and then you're like, nah, probably not.
Well, now it's Ninja Warrior. If you ever watch
And
Ninja Warrior and those,
I can't stand Ninja Warrior because every time I watch it, I'm like, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that.
Nope. And then
I say
somebody
that, but I know
opens
that
a
if I got there
door.
to do it, I probably couldn't. I could train myself to do it. I know.
I watched this
I know
one
I
where you
could
run
do
down
it.
this gangplank and you have to run, and they have these random doors that just open, so you just run it and just blown up.
dude, I've been watching those since I was like 15 when they were just in Japan. They're awesome. But anyway, okay, so we're done with the draft class. That is official. Your 2023 Carolina Panthers draft class. Welcome to the squad, boys.
I like that it's not too big.
Yeah, I mean, only 5 players. I mean, that's.
I felt like, Cody, when I looked around some of the, I was trying to peek around, as you said, like, let's look, like, because you did so much work on the show, getting it ready tonight in the presentation, and you're like, maybe look at some of the news. So I was peeking around. I wanted to look at what the draft grades were, because I had seen somebody say like the Falcons had a better draft. I was like, what the hell? How is this possible?
Right.
But I think this is draft heads inflating conversations. I felt like a lot of the drafts that I was looking around the league that people were really excited about just had a lot of picks. You know, it's like, oh, like it's like, oh, well, look at this. Like, and it's like, you know, I just feel like that's just volume doesn't mean.
I think
good.
the Pittsburgh Steelers had like 9 or something like that. One of those teams had a crazy amount of draft picks. But all right, but now on to some Panther business with Panthers that you already are aware of and familiar with.
This is big
Carolina
5th-year option.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers have picked up the 5th-year option of Derek Brown. Now, do you think they're just wanting to give him some time to prove it more? Or do you think that they have the idea that they're trying to get some type of contract done with Derek Brown?
I think that the people who have jumped on the Derek Brown bandwagon last year were too scared to do it the year before, and they should have. Derek Brown has done nothing. And go back and check my receipts, people, if you're that type of person. Derek Brown has started like every game since he came in as a rookie. Like, he has had 0 injury problem. And like, people have been only underwhelmed with him. Like, he got some flack maybe in his 2nd year because, again, and maybe I just learned the lesson of history with the Carolina Panthers, is just because Starr didn't get a lot of sacks didn't mean he wasn't critical or playing well.
Right.
I did not find Derek Brown's play throughout any of his career to be poor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's one of those positions that is a lot better. Your play is a lot better when you got better guys around you. And I think you started to see that over the last 2 years. There's better players around him. Look, the Panthers' run defense was atrocious when that's why we drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only gotten a little bit better every year. I've had 0 problem with Derek Brown's play. The only thing that you can criticize is that it's just not sexy because it's an interior defensive tackle. He's been there, he's been available, and he's made plays. I've been on Derek Brown's train. I don't think this is, let's see what we got. I think this is, hey, this guy is pretty damn important to this defense.
Yep.
Look, I've been playing, and I said this to y'all before, this game called Ultimate Football GM. They make it for every sport, basketball, hockey, baseball, everything. If you get a chance, free app, check it out. I'd recommend paying $1.99 for the upgrade, but check it out. And it's taught me a lot about like finances with football teams, like planning ahead. I think that if they're going to give him the extension right now and not sign him to a deal, that has a lot to do with us drafting a quarterback and possibly planning on paying him in 3 years, because that puts your big defensive tackle that you've got to pay pay the big money on a different year than the quarterback you've got to pay the big money. You got to plan these things out. So
yeah, get ahead of it.
Okay, but you're getting ahead of the curve here. Yeah. So
yep. And let me read the super chat real quick. David Screws with the $5 says, "I want me trophies. I'm gonna dominate this league. I'm the leprechaun, and nobody is stopping me from collecting me gold."
I like it.
Bryce Young, shout out to David. But this is what I want to say. About Derek Brown. And you know how we always have this discussion around Star Lotulelei and how he was a first round pick for the Panthers. Everybody had these high expectations from him or for him. He was a great tandem with him and K1 Short for a long time. But then after we let him go, then we realized, oh shit, Star Lotulelei did a lot more for this defensive line than we ever gave him credit for. And I feel like Derek Brown is going to be another player that falls directly into that same type of role. And especially now that we're moving into a 3-4 defense, like, I'm sorry, if any of you ever had your mindset that Derek Brown was going to be a 5+ sack getter every year, like, I'm sorry, that's not what they brought him in to do originally.
He could be if you put good pieces around him.
I don't know, but now that you're in a 3-4, in my opinion, he's probably going to be that big zero tech, that nose technique in the middle.
You don't think they're going to put him on one of the edges?
No, I really don't. That's not his skill set. They might put him at 5. Though. Yeah, they might put him at 5 tech sometime. But I really don't think that's where they're going to want Derek Brown doing the most of his damage. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I really don't feel like his value is going to be rushing the passer.
Right. Like, man,
but that doesn't make him not valuable. That's my entire point.
No, I agree, 100% agree. And I think it's, again, I've learned some lessons by doing the podcast for a long time. Again, think back to Luke Kuechly. You thought, man, we got John Beeson, we got Thomas Davis. Man, we need a corner, right? And then it turns out that you're adding these players to the stable. Then you think of this as we double dipped with a Star. Look, first Star was supposed to be a top 3 talent, top 3, and then he had a sickness that they thought was a heart murmur or something like this. But him and KK came in there together. And admittedly, I promise you, go back and watch everything I said. I love KK Short. I was like, oh, KK, pay KK. But you know what? KK wasn't the same without Star.
No.
Right? Is like these together were a power play. Star then goes on to have a real good, another good run in Buffalo. I recently saw a tweet, Cody, right before the draft or right around the draft that somebody put out. It got an incredible amount of likes for me, which, I'm not used to. I've had a couple of tweets recently go kind of bigger than I'm used to going. And they said top draft bust over the past, 10 years. And it wasn't for the Panthers. It was just throughout the league or something. And they put Star up there. I was like, Star was great. And I got like 170 likes or something like this. But it's, again, that's the point, is that it doesn't win on the stat sheet because sacks are sexy in this case. Right. And look, and that's what I've been trying to tell people with Derek Brown, is that it's easy to pin this, but he's been a good addition. And the very fact that he's been available and gotten better and better from year to year. And then you had, I think some of it too is the lingering effect of the stupid Matt Rule calling people out. Remember when Matt Rule singled him out, it felt like unnecessarily for a moment.
Benched him, right?
Yeah, or and it was like, you need to take notes better or some shit
Matt
like
Rule
that.
is such a fucking dumbass.
Right. I just think it's a I don't want to say, I would say a lazy take. I think it's a lazy take. I think this is I think this is a smart move for the Carolina Panthers. I think it will be difficult for the Carolina Panthers to decide if they want to pay him big money, though. I think that's a difficult question, right? Is because while that contribution is valuable, like you have said, Cody, for so long, is defensive tackle in the top 10. Is it's not that it's not an unimportant position. Is it a top 10 game changing position? So that's the question is this a replaceable position? Is it, so I think the bigger question is not should we have picked up his 5th-year option, but the bigger question is, will we sign him to a deal? We picked KK over Star. Should we have done Star over KK?
I mean, listen, they were a tandem. They worked hand in hand with one another. But speaking of 5th-year options, CJ Henderson did not have his 5th-year option picked up.
Good.
Yeah, and no, 100% good. And by the way, I'm not even saying that's me giving up on him. To be honest with you, I'm saying I want him to come out like a man possessed this year. Because Greg, you have every right, and you all have every right to shit all over him and say he's trash or whatever the fuck. But I mean, this is going to be a make it or break it for his career. If he's able to be an NFL player, well, this will be the year that he's gonna have to prove it. And yeah, a bunch of people have no faith in him. A bunch of people in the chat are already saying it. You two are already saying it. He was the number 1 pick by the Jaguars in 2020, traded only a year later. And remember, there was always these rumors on whether or not CJ Henderson loved football.
Sure.
Like, did he even want to be an NFL football player? I don't know if that's still the scenario with him, but I don't know. We're gonna find out.
I saw a tweet. I think it was put up by Carolina Blitz, and it was, "Is CJ Henderson officially a bust or something?" I'm paraphrasing, so it was better than this. I hope I'm not hyperbolizing it. And I responded, "This is like because we traded a 3rd round and we're not picking up the 5th round option." And I said, "No, you know what? First, you shouldn't have picked up his option, but that doesn't necessarily even make the trade a bust for us. You're trading a 3rd round pick for a player that you then came in and asked to start midway through the season that year, who finished the season and played for us, regardless of whether or not you like to play. Then he played a full another season for the Carolina Panthers. The 5th-year option is a bonus for the team. The 5th-year option is a team bonus. It's a protection for the teams to get a better player for an additional year. I think the NFLPA would be trying to get rid of the 5th-year option, because if you're really good, you're ready to negotiate your contract, not get stuck on what this is basically a rookie franchise tag. So I think this is exactly what CJ Henderson, I kind of expected out of him. If he was better than he's been for us, they wouldn't have traded him, or he would have cost more. This is exactly like and this turns out it's one of those players that the physical upside of the player didn't match their production on the field.
Yeah. And the Panthers have been in love with the physical upside type of players.
It happens. At least we didn't draft him number 1. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, 1st round, not number 1, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, a 1st round.
Yeah.
By the way, we don't have to go through all of these, but this is the laundry list of
misses. We're not misses.
But look, this is the laundry list of undrafted free agents that the Panthers have brought in. And let me tell you, there's a lot of defensive guys on this list. And to me, this is wanting to make sure that they get a look at all of these guys being able to fill out that 3-4 defense that they're getting ready to transition to.
There's another North Dakota State name, offensive guard there. And some people have been talking on Twitter. I don't know anything about him. Cam Peoples from Appalachian State. And then Bumper Pool supposedly was somebody mentioned in the chat. I would not have known this if it wasn't for the chat, that he was one of our top 30 visits.
Yeah. I want to mention the Cam Peoples thing. I had a guy at work tell me today, he's like, "Man, y'all signed a really nice unsigned running back or unsigned free agent, for this year with Cam Peoples, and he's a huge App State fan. The guy I go to work with, and he goes to almost all their games. So I watched some highlights today, and I'm telling you, man, this might be a gem right here, y'all. It really might. App State puts out some good football players, even though they're not a Division I college. They put up
No, they are now. They actually moved up to Division I.
Yeah, I guess when they beat Michigan a couple years ago, probably put them in there. But yeah, but they put out some really good football players, and this guy is the perfect pair with Miles Sanders, because I like Miles Sanders, but Miles Sanders is the east-west runner. Like, look at him. He hits the outside, and he's fast around the edges. This guy right here, Peoples, can hit the hole and
just north-south. Just north-south.
He's a north-south guy. This is a great combination to have with Miles Sanders. I think this team up right here might be really, really good. This is a gem.
Cody, can we
another gem from this undrafted free agent class is Rajon Wright. He's a cornerback out of, I believe, Oregon State, and this was him against Jordan Addison, who was a top pick in this year's draft.
Did he go to Minnesota? He's the Minnesota guy, right?
No, this is Oregon State. He's
he talking about the receiver.
Yeah. He went to Minnesota. Yeah, he went to Minnesota. Addison went to Minnesota.
Look at this guy in fantasy next year, y'all. Just saying. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, another fast, long
work about sticking with them. You know what I'm saying? Not getting work.
I mean, so a lot of people are very excited about a few of the undrafted free agents, and it seems like everyone has their own favorite. Which one they want to see do something for the Panthers. But of course, Kevin's talking about the wide receiver from South Carolina that we picked up. Tall, fast dude. Well, I don't know. I refuse to look at his highlights, bro, because I'm salty.
Can we take the next call?
Yeah. Let's do something.
The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the calls.
Hey guys, it is Bryce Young, ACC. I'm calling in today to let you guys know I'm so grateful to be a fan. This is JJ. I'm calling in because I'm getting a little tired of this the Mingo slander. All right, Cody, you're not on the bandwagon. Don't join the bandwagon when he becomes legit and he replaced all that production from DJ Moore. When he becomes the Mingo man himself, all right? Me and Cody jumped on that shit immediately. We on that shit. We own that shit.
Yeah, man.
Also, aside from that, I know I was a huge DJ Style fan. Really, it was 1A, 1B with Bryce Young. But, I've just been so happy just thinking about, Bryce Young being our quarterback. And I'm sure, a lot of other people can agree. And the feeling, I hope you guys laugh at what I'm about to say, but I guess the closest way I can describe it is, if you're, that one guy who's, who gets a girl pregnant, and then he,
oh, no.
isn't too excited about the news. He's unsure. He isn't well planned for the future, none of that. He isn't the most excited, but as soon as that baby pops out, he immediately falls in love.
Yeah.
And, that's Junior B. That kind of excitement. That's how I feel about Bryce Young being our quarterback there. I know that's a hella weird analogy, but I thought it was kind of
perfect.
Funny. I hope y'all laugh at that, and I hope y'all can understand and relate to what I'm saying. If not, that's awkward. But
nah, it's perfect, dude.
I can't be the only guy who's just happy that we have a quarterback and who we're going to believe in on Sunday to take us to the promised land from now on. And that's Bryce Young, baby. Let's go. Keep pounding. C3. Panther Nation all together.
Dude.
Cody, you're not allowed on the Mingo train.
Oh,
No,
shut
he's
up.
allowed.
I'll barge my way
Yeah.
on that bitch and I won't ask no one's opinion. How about that? Look, I thought he had a great example. They said that dads don't really feel like they're a dad until they see their baby. It's not instant for them. And yeah, if you were not on the Bryce Young train originally, and now we drafted him, you go look at the film, look at what the man does. Yeah, you're allowed to be excited about what the Panthers drafted in Bryce Young. And it's okay to still be concerned about how he's going to hold up to an NFL schedule. He's going to have to prove everyone wrong. But I think that we should also look at the upside and also look at the Panthers being able to put him in a position to be able to succeed. We drafted another offensive lineman. We already have a good offensive line. I think we're going to be just fine.
Look, here's my only concern. I wanted to mention this earlier when we were talking about Bryce Young. We got off the topic, so I let it go. We're here on it now. My biggest comparison to Bryce Young right now is simply because of size is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is missing the entire season next season because of injury in his third year or fourth year now. Okay. And I can almost guarantee you, if it works out the way Arizona wants it to, Kyler Murray's not going to be their quarterback next year.
They just paid him $1 bazillion.
And I can almost guarantee you, if they finish in the top 2 or 3, if they have a number 1 and number 2 pick, they're drafting one of those quarterbacks, either the guy from Carolina, Mays, or the guy from USC. I guarantee Kyler Murray will not be there next year if they have a top pick. And that's my only issue with Bryce Young and his comparison to Kyler Murray, is because that size is not very good for the NFL. I'm not saying he's not going to be successful. He's going to get injured. I hope he doesn't, and I'm pulling for him. But it is a huge concern, and he has to prove to me that he's worth it. The burden of proof is on him right now to prove to me that he's worth it, because I do not believe it was the right pick. I back him.
God,
I back him, and I want him to be a good quarterback.
He's a hey, you know what?
Until you prove it to me, you were not the pick that I wanted. So, and I'm not saying he can't do
every
it.
Time,
but the burden of proof is on him. He has to prove it to me. Yeah, you're right. I did say this every time, and look what happened with Matt Rule.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying.
He can flex on that. And by the way, listen, I disagree with Greg in terms of how I look at this, but Greg is not wrong. And I've been saying for the past 2 seasons in a row, it's prove it season. Nobody gets to rest on their laurels or have their past accolades be what we sprinkle them and shower them with love over anymore. They have to go out there and they have to prove it.
Right.
So, yeah, if you know, I look forward to Bryce proving the Bat Daddy wrong.
I do too. I do too. I want to eat crow so bad on this. I do too. I want this pick right here to be the pick that I want Bryce Young to be my quarterback for the next 12 years at least. If I can get that and we can be competitive, I will eat crow every effing night for the next 12 years.
Don't worry.
I don't
There's someone named,
they'll hold you to it.
Oh, they're going to hold me to it. Please do. Yes.
There's someone named Tammy Young in the chat room, and she claims to be a that Bryce Young is her nephew. That would be hilarious.
I hate to say
that would be hilarious
Tammy.
if we actually had.
I hate to say it, Tammy, but even if you're Peyton Manning and you're coming in the NFL, you have to prove that you can do it. So everybody that's drafted this year has to prove something. Okay. Like I said, I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but everybody has to prove something.
Yep. So let's move on. We hinted at this a little bit earlier. In 2024, the naming rights of Bank of America Stadium, Bank of America, it comes to an end at the end of the 2024 season. So we don't know what the name of the stadium is going to be in 2025. I'm going to put forth my theory, and you're not going to love it, I feel like, because it doesn't roll off the tongue. It's going to be Lowe's Field. And let me tell you why. Okay. Lowe's just moved their headquarters to Charlotte. They have an enormous building here in Charlotte that's right down the road from BOA. So, I mean, there's a lot of different options, but I kind of think Lowe's might swoop in and grab that sponsorship if Bank of America doesn't renew.
Who was the former Panthers reporter? He was real cool. He came on the show during training camp a few years ago. Max, what was his name?
Headroom. No, I'm playing.
No, first of all, nobody's going to remember that, Cody. No, he came on the show. He was what the fuck was it? He was really good, but he left the Carolina Panthers Probably around the time Matt Rule, maybe 1 year after Matt Rule or so. But he left and is doing public relations and social media for Lowe's because of the headquarters, like obviously this headquarters story and stuff like this. And I was thinking, what if he's the guy that negotiates the deal?
Right.
I hope that commission. I hope it gets that commission. What was his name? It's gonna come to me in a second. I think we got to keep it first. Is if Tepper doesn't keep it Bank of America and he made his billions off of Bank of America, that's a problem. Second, the bank, protect the bank.
I like that.
Our
I do love the name.
Our t-shirt, by the way, go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com, put it in the bank. My idea, lens, drawing and creation. It's a good, like, come on. Lowe's, what is it?
Oh, I remember the name you were thinking of. Max Henson.
Yeah. Yes, Max. Oh, see, I was right. Max. Yeah, Max Henson, and he left for Lowe's. So just kind of building on that.
I think that they need to go more local in the Carolinas, and I think that they Krispy Kreme, founded in Winston-Salem, is going to sponsor the Panthers next year, and it's going to be
big enough.
It's going to be called the Panther Stadium is going to be called the Crispy Hole. So
the Crispy Hole, yeah.
The hot sign is. Would you put the hot sign on at 1 p.m. on Sundays?
Fresh. That's right.
They're best when
seriously,
they're
I think
lightly glazed.
I think serious contenders, if they're going to change, serious contenders is Spectrum of Verizon. To be truly honest with you.
Yeah, but we also have we already have the Spectrum Arena.
We do. We also have a Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Play. We have the Bojangles Coliseum too. All the three that we mentioned.
What's the Bojangles Coliseum? Which one's that?
It used to be. Chat, help me out. What did the Bojangles Coliseum used to be?
Who plays there?
I don't the Hornet or I believe the Bobcats used to play there forever ago.
But it's
I don't know.
Spectrum
Chat room, you're gonna have to help me out because I don't remember. But I've been to a UFC fight at the Bojangles Coliseum.
But doesn't the Spectrum Center sound pretty good? Like if you're going to rename something, the Spectrum.
That sounds like a basketball joint.
It is.
How about
hey,
Sideshow is saying Atrium Health. They have a giant hospital here in Charlotte.
Say Bud Light. Fuck.
Atrium.
I have a real
Health
problem with hospitals being so hard into advertising.
Yeah, me too.
Well, they've got to, man. They've got to.
Why? What the fuck? There ain't no other hospitals to go to.
Because they don't make enough money from their patients, apparently. So they've got to,
use all the money they make from the patients to buy the rights to a stadium?
I guess.
I don't know. I don't feel like hospitals are something that I pick based on like brand loyalty.
Yeah.
Like, you mean you're not going to go to
their commercials are
You're like, I'm a Coke guy or I'm a Pepsi guy. I'm an Atrium Health guy. Nah, fuck that. I'm a Winston-Salem. Like, there's something weird about certain industries.
No, I hear you.
Being completely profit. I'm fine with the Lowe's home building. You know what? And to be honest, if we hit this recession, which is coming, folks,
it's definitely coming. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because the regular goods have gone up too much. Is that who does well? Go ahead and start buying your Lowe's stock. Go ahead and start buying your Home Depot stock right now. They do great in recessions because people can't afford to buy homes. And they're trying to fix up where they live at. That's what they do. That's what you do in a recession. You know what? In fact, I got like $500 in my stock account. I'm going to buy Lowe's tomorrow. 252-228-5098.
Somebody's saying that C3 needs to buy the rights to the
stadium. That was salesman. He said you got a $300 million.
Yeah, C3 Stadium, baby.
Let's just start putting it on let's just start making t-shirts where we put C3 Stadium and maybe they'll sue us.
Yeah.
Right. And take it. Well, hold on. We got a couple of months. I got to get the LLC set up so they don't take my house.
Perfect.
But you know what is this? If David Tepper sued the C3 Panthers podcast and then actually won, which he would because he has $1 bazillion or whatever, Do you know how much
The
the
best
YouTube
lawyers.
video would make of me going on and saying this billionaire ran out a podcast that had 5,000 subscribers?
Yeah.
Like it would actually be
We would blow up.
yeah,
We would
it's
blow
like you're
up.
right.
That
I
would be
declare
our song right
bankruptcy
there.
and
Yeah.
now declare a win. I
Mhm.
am gonna buy the naming rights because of this YouTube video I just made. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, what's up, C3? This is Al Taylor. I like the DJ pick. I think he's gonna be all right. You know, like Bitter was saying, he's a big dude, and he's not there to rush the passer right now. He's there to play run, stop the edge, or at the edge opposite Brian Burns. He can't really stop the run, but I think he'll be all right. Like you say, let's give him like a little bit more weight training. He's gonna be fucking super strong, athletic, at the edge type guy. And Mingo, I think he's gonna ball out. I mean, he should be all right. He'll probably get about like 600 yards this year, but then next year he'll probably explode. And then I like what we did with this draft. I like what we're going with this team. Hopefully Bryce can get put together quickly, and then we can be off to the races, and we take a good lead in the NFC South, and we go ahead and win the division. I like what we did with this draft. I like how we look right now. I think we're still we're the top team in the NFC South. Although I do think that the Saints are going to be okay, and I think that Atlanta's actually going to be decent, but I think we should be better than them both. But all right, guys, have a good night.
Good call.
Shout out to Al. Hey, we have a Saints fan who said Bryce got that Gerber deal. Call it Gerber Food Field, aka the crib. Hey,
man,
man.
you know what? I don't think it's a terrible idea. In fact, it's
pretty bad.
You know what? I know it sounds. I mean, it's terrible in reality. Like I don't really think it should happen, but we've talked about Bryce Young being so marketable. Like he could be the Gerber baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, you know what? Gerber baby food. Do you remember RoboCop where he had to eat baby food? Here it is.
Yeah.
Bryce. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey. You know who the fuck it is. Booyaka! What's good with your motherfuckers? Hey, CK, congrats on the baby, man. I know you probably won't hear this. I had just seen that you got off, but I wanted to say, congrats on the baby, man. That's huge. That's big news, man. And all you can ever pray for is a healthy, beautiful baby. You know what I'm saying? So congrats on the baby girl. Now, back to this ass whooping. Greg, you really make me fucking sick sometimes, man. And I don't want to have to disrespect you, but I'm going to have to disrespect you without being disrespectful, Jay.
You're good.
Bruh, the truth. The motherfucking truth. The motherfucking truth, man. Actually, you know what, Greg? I'm going to come back to you because I don't want to do you dirty like that, but I want to I want to talk about the depth on the team. This is what we have so far. Outside linebackers, we got Brian Burns and YGM. At ends, we got Williams and Derek Brown. At D tackle, we have Tuttle. Both linebackers, you got Luvu, you got Shaq Thompson. Both corners, J.C. Horn.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. That's my fault. I was trying to look at a
Von
different app
Williams
at the same time.
and Derek Brown. At D tackle, we have Tuttle. Both linebackers, you got Luvu, you got Shaq Thompson. Both corners, J.C. Horn, Dante. With both safeties, Xavier Woods and Von Bell. With a linebacker / safety and Jeremy Chin. Then you got outside linebackers, DJ Johnson. You got safety nickel Eric Rowe. You got another corner and CJ Henderson. Outside linebacker DN Marquise Haynes. Another outside linebacker Amari Barno. Another inside linebacker Brandon Smith. You got the safety Jamie Robinson. We're looking pretty fucking solid on defense, boys. We got to continue to build this fucking wall. I had some retards. Oh, I can't say the word retard, but dummies in the fucking chat that wanted to trade Taylor Moton. So we have a 2 bookend, fucking a left, a franchise left tackle and a franchise right tackle, but you want to get rid of our franchise right tackle. That's the most reliable, consistent fucking lineman that we've ever had. That makes no fucking sense to me, man. That is just so fucking stupid in my eyes. But then you guys want to bitch and moan and complain that Bryce is too this and too small. Greg, compare Bryce Young to fucking Kyler Murray because of size. It's just pure stupidity, bro. You're better than that, G.
Why?
You're fucking better than that.
Is there not a comparison
And
between
I
their
don't really
size?
give a
Because they're
damn
the
about
exact
not
same
picking up
size?
CJ Henderson's fifth option because he's going to ball out and he's going to fucking make you eat a big meatload, bro.
CJ Henderson.
Greg, I have a feeling like back in the day,
mark down the date,
bro,
5/2/2023.
you always bring up this size shit.
Bro, G-Baby, I'm coming. I'm mark this date down. 5/2. 23.
By the way,
He ran out of time.
All right.
I disagree. He said, "Okay."
I had suggested on Twitter that if Brady Christensen had the capability to play right tackle, that we should see what kind of value Taylor Moton has. Now, everybody freaked out. A lot of people agreed with me.
I'm agreeing with you.
But a lot of people freaked out, and everybody has this revisionist history. Like there weren't a lot of times last year
that they were shitting on him for the last 2
where people
years.
were complaining about Taylor in pass protection. I know the Seahawks did him dirty a couple of times. Only TJ Watt did him dirty. There were a few times that I felt like Taylor Moton was the weak link on the team, and he's getting older.
Yes.
So
he's been regressing. Look, Joseph Broach. Joseph Broach to me has the comment of the night. Franchise right tackle, first time that's ever been said. Like kind of funny is this. Here's the thing is G Baby first. I love you, G Baby. Like I love the passion, the energy. And people I know like that's his style. Like so he's like he don't really mean nothing to Greg or any
He's
of
a
us.
Chihuahua, dude. He yaps a lot. He's harmless.
So awesome. He's awesome. But
friendly banter. Yeah.
Look, let's talk about a couple of things. Or not a couple of things. I don't want to overdo it, but he said this is other than saying I don't want to say the R word, and then he said it again. That was funny. But he said that Taylor Moton's the most reliable offensive lineman we've had.
Not
Come
last
on
year.
now. No, he said ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
that's why.
So I mean, come on, like let's just go down the list of people that have. I mean, let's just go to Ryan Khalil and Jordan Grove, right? I mean, so we can put that to bed right away.
Yeah,
but I'm with you completely, Cody, on this. And first, I'm a fan of Taylor Moton. I don't want to be a person who gets talk shit about someone the first time they have a bad game, right? Like but over the last 2 years, we've had this. 2 years ago, we started to ask this question on this podcast. Is Taylor Moton regressing, or is it because he's on a bad line? Right? Is like some of this like fact that 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
2 years.
Oh,
So 2 years ago we started to ask questions. Is this Taylor Moton being bad, or is this a player that's struggling on a bad unit? Right. Then last year. What I feel like is we've seen him slow down. He never had the fastest kick step, and I'm not an offensive line guy. I have the eye test. But Cody, the revisionist history is totally there. And maybe it's not from G Baby, but I hear I believe a lot of people that I swear they were throwing Taylor Moton under the bus for the last 2 years. And then they're like, oh, well, we got Taylor Moton and shit's fine. Like, and dude, I don't believe that he's a bad player, but I don't think that his best seasons are ahead of him either.
Right. He's past his youth. maybe not his prime, but he's not going to get better going forward. He may maintain the same or decline, but he's not going to get better.
We've seen him get
I think he's at his highest
beat
point.
like a drum on that side too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I put this on Twitter, and bro, a lot of people wanted to joke on your boy and post funny memes and call me all types of names and shit.
I think the joke is being able to trade him for what people say we could trade him for. I think that's the true joke. They're like, oh, let's trade him for a first round. Shut the fuck up. Nobody's going to trade a first round pick for no Taylor.
You want to know, and Kev said his next call is about this. But you know what I've said before, though? Like, whenever I feel like there is a narrative that people are trying to push, like it's not like I'm playing the contrarian just to be different, but a lot of times I feel like the majority of people have it wrong. And there's so many people that are trying to relegate Brady Christensen to be a backup, to be like a swing tackle. And I'm telling you, the dude is too talented to ride the bench. When we all went to FanFest, me, Greg, CK, Kev, dude, I saw Christensen in person. And dude, that dude moves so well for a big boy.
You also saw Matt Corral and said he was the most amazing.
Oh, shut up!
So I'm just saying.
No, dude, Brady Christensen.
Temper this, a little bit.
Brady Christensen is big and strong and nimble for a dude that's like what 6'7", 315 pounds, or whatever it is.
6'7".
He's tall
Brady
as fuck.
Christensen is a great rotational player on the offensive line. Yeah, a rotational player on the offensive line.
No, he is a starter on the offensive line, dude. I don't care. No, dude, I will fight everyone to the death.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is Taylor Moton as like fucking amazing right now, as people say. Look, and I'm not trying to dog on him. I'm just saying this is like, don't act like this guy is a lockdown tackle right now that is irreplaceable. And it's more wild when people are like, oh, I want to trade him for a second round pick. Who's going to trade for Taylor Moton unless your person gets hurt in mid-season? You're not out there going, oh, let's go target Taylor Moton. Sorry. All right, let's see if this is Kev's call. I don't know if this.
Before we go to the next call, I got to settle this.
Is that him?
I think that's G.
Before you go to the next call, I got to settle this with G Baby real quick. Because, okay, me and G Baby had a bet last year. Actually, we had a bet that he made with a lot of people.
He has people like that.
Now, me and him never settled that bet. And I want to go ahead and put this out there because I don't want to besmirch G Baby. He tried to pay me a number of times. So I'm not saying he wouldn't settle with me. He tried to pay. And I told him, no, let's wait. Let's have another bet. Because I always love doing that. Like, let's have another bet.
Double or nothing kind of thing.
So, G Baby, I'm going double or nothing with you right now. CJ Henderson will not be a Carolina Panther after the season. Double or nothing right now. We will not re-sign CJ Henderson.
I believe that.
Hit me up.
G Baby loves CJ. Dude, G Baby is so weird.
And I hate CJ, so it's perfect. CJ Henderson will not get re-signed by Carolina next year.
Dude, G Baby talks trash about Brian Burns, but yet loves CJ Henderson and Dante Jackson.
And don't get me wrong, I love somebody being true to their players. I do. And sometimes people are wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm not wrong. I'm wrong all the time, okay? But I'm just gonna put this out there. So, G Baby, I know you hit me up on Twitter or wherever, man. Just let me know. I'll go double or nothing with you on that bet we had before that CJ Henderson will not be a Carolina Panther 2025.
Look, is white. My bastard son says wrong, Dad. Remember what Scott said? He said he was calling for people's backup offensive linemen and couldn't find anyone. Yeah, he was calling probably mid-season, not right now calling for backups. And then Chad Howe, good point too, is like Moton's only 28. Geez, put him out in the pasture. I'm not saying he's over, he's done. Like, I think he's going to go out there and start. I think he can still have, but I will say this is that just because you're 28 too, there's some miles on those tires. I mean, he was picked by Dave Gettleman, I think. or maybe it was Greg Little that picked it. No man, but like, I mean, he's been around for a minute, homie. Like, so it's not like he's just 28 and he's been in the league for 3 years. I mean, this guy's been a Panther for 6 or like a minute. So I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying this is don't act like he is. Look, I bet you this is Akim Ekwonu is a better player on that line than Taylor Moton right now. That's what I would put. And he should be because he's a fucking top 10 pick and things like this. And young.
Christensen gave up less sacks than he did last year. And I'm telling you, Christensen did nothing to lose that left tackle position. I never doubted Akim Ekwonu's ability to play left tackle, but Matt Rule and that coaching staff had it set in their mind that if he was going to play left tackle, they had this bullshit fake competition to try and prove who was going to be the left tackle. It's not like Christensen lost. He is a very nimble, very good tackle prospect. And I do feel that Christensen is a better tackle than he is a guard. So,
all right, let's go to the next call.
G, baby. Pickle, you thought I forgot about you.
Is this G again?
I didn't, sir.
I think it is.
I'm on your ass. The motherfucker that said there's no QBs in this draft worth trading up for. Come on, bruh. You're better than that, G. And I low-key love you.
Well, we still don't know until the season comes out. You know?
I love you, Pickle. I really do, G.
Oh, I gotta grab that soundbite. I love you.
Shut
the fuck up.
I gotta grab that soundbite.
Sam Peoples is better than fucking Chuba. No, the fuck he ain't, bro. He ain't even better than Miles Sanders. I know you said he was better than Miles Sanders. You're my motherfucking nigga, G. But you've been talking out of line lately, bro.
Who's better than?
You better get on that truth train. Why? You've been my nigga since day one, G. I'm gonna let you on the train, G. You still got time to hop on the train, dog.
For those who don't know,
you still have time, G.
Yeah, they don't think he's black. He is.
Come on, bro. You my brother.
Which is
come on with it, G.
racist to not think he's
But you know,
by the
I want to talk about Jamie Robinson, man.
I know.
Hey, Twandon. I fucks with him. I fucks with him. I can see Jamie Robinson walking into a perfect situation to where he's getting leadership. Well, not he's being a leader, but he is also adapting to the leadership on this team in Eric Rowe and Von Bell. So he's walking. I see Jamie Henderson playing that Chauncey Gardner row. You know what I'm saying? Like that he reminds me of a fucking of a bandit. He goes and he headhunts, and I want that shit on my fucking defense, bro. I'm trying to set a blue collar nose fucking culture, and this is what it's starting to feel like. You know what? I got a bone to pick. Hey, Scott Fitt, I owe you a motherfucking apology, G. I'm not gonna say I love you yet, but you know what? If it wasn't for you trading up to number one, we would have got 0 QBs. And I'm glad. I'm sure we would have passed on Will Levis, but we wouldn't. You put us in the perfect situation, and I want to say I apologize for calling for your job. I apologize. Wow. That don't mean I love you, and you better stay on your tippy toes, G. Hey, Teffer and Mrs. Teffer, thank you for making this move. Panther Nation, you know what's good with your boy G, baby, man. And you know where to fucking find me. On Twitter, where I'm talking shit and beating ass. Anthony, you my motherfucking dog. And JJ, I'm starting to love you too, G. You're my redheaded stepchild. But I'm starting to, I'm starting to let you into the family, G. So much love to you too, motherfucker.
I love this guy.
I love all my fucking dogs, all Panther Nation. You know what's good with your boy. I'm going to see you on the Friday free for all.
Yeah.
My man said us the blacks don't claim G baby. Y'all say dumb, man. I just love all the shit.
Dude, look, hey man, look. I know a lot. Listen. I know that G baby is not everybody's cup of coffee.
Oh, he's mine though.
I know. Look, I know that a lot of times Sea Dog might rub people the wrong way. And look, this is our ethos. If you're a diehard Panther fan, we welcome your opinion.
Yeah.
I want you to call in and have a better call than him.
Yeah, like
that's
what
what I
I'm saying.
challenge that is have a better call than G, baby.
If you disagree with G, if you disagree with us, we're not telling nobody what to say, how to think, how to be a fan. So we let people's voices be heard.
I love it. I love it.
And-
Like, look,
and you
I
know
love
what?
when there's intercaller rivalry. I like when people talk shit about other caller. Not even like when they compliment. Look, they're forming little alliances in the calls. They are. It's like that's what I dream of. Is like where people one day like script their call before they come in. You know, is like where you come in, kind of like how Jim Rome callers do. And it's just wild. Like I love it. I love energy. You know what? You don't have to love. You don't have to like the take. I think
later. I can't wait.
You don't have to like the take, but love the energy. G baby always brings it. Let's go to the next call. And White Chocolate, send me your last 4 your numbers so I can move your call up. Kind of bouncing around.
This is Steve, and I'm trying to get in my cat call. Just 5 days removed from the NFL draft, where the Panthers took Bryce Young, #1 overall, our future Hall of Famer. That guy that's going to lead us to the playoffs, maybe even next year.
We'll see.
I wanted to talk about the brevity of that pick. I think that pick weighted on everyone's conscience. I even saw Darren Gant lash out at Tony online publicly, and he's a pretty mellow guy.
When did that?
I think that pick did something to a lot of people. It was hard to even focus on anything else in the draft. We touched on it. We had some people picked out. But that quarterback pick at #1 consumed everything. Things are different now. There's a new unity here. That's why you should become a member. You should subscribe now if you haven't. You should like now if you haven't. You should join the C3 Panthers community. We're going to continue to grow. I wanted to point out all the things that we did for CK and welcome his new baby to the world. Did you see that on other podcasts? Do you see so many other podcast members reaching out in support? No, you don't. What you do see is pay to be heard. If you pay, you can be heard. That's not the way it is here.
That's right.
You saw the draft content by C3 members that were proud to be part of C3 and be part of the draft and part of this Panthers history.
I want to say something after this.
Yeah, I do too. You go ahead first.
It's predicated on giving back to the Panthers community. You can be a part of the show. You can call in your cat call too, just as I have. Join the community. Join the C3 Panthers podcast. Like and subscribe. Share. It's the only podcast that embodies and embraces the rising tide. Keep pounding, C3.
Keep pounding, dude. Listen, I love me some D's ill skills, bro. Dude, he has, in a very short amount of time, he has become literally like the brand ambassador for the C3 Panthers podcast.
There's some good graphic shit too. Yeah.
Oh, dude, follow him on Twitter, man. These little skills. He puts out these great edits, like these really artistic edits of Panther players. Really, really cool. But he also, dude, he's always rocking the pod, always promoting C3. At the end of the free for all, he will give a speech that will have everyone like an applause, and everyone's been fighting. Everyone's been fighting all day, and then D's will come in, drop some knowledge, and everyone's like, I want some of whatever that dude is on. So shout out to my guy D's. He's incredible, bro.
Well, shout out to D's especially, but he brings up a great point that, you know what, we can't ever say this too much. And I just want to thank Tony, to be truly honest with you, because like Tony, Cody, CK, y'all are some of my best friends.
Same.
And the group, the relationships I have made with C3, I run a whole nother podcast just on people that I met that are C3 Panthers fans. Okay. Like, so that's how deep this goes. Tony, you and Joe and everybody else who started this whole thing up, man, you guys started something fantastic. And I'm so glad that you accepted me to be able to come on here, help out, and do all this stuff and just be part of the show and what you've created. This is a community of all other podcasts I watch, sports, comics, anything else. I don't see this fan community like I do with the C3 Panthers podcast. Tony, I got to thank you for that, man. I really do.
Well, thank you.
You're the
No,
godfather.
thank you. No, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Look, I know I talk a lot, right? I'm Italian. I talk a lot. I might want my opinion heard. I want to tell you guys what I think. But I do truly, and I hope that other people see this, is I don't want ever this show to be about me, though.
No.
You know, I mean, I do have an opinion, and I'm the host, and I'm supposed to have takes. I'm supposed to lead conversations. I'm supposed to do these things because, I mean, it's not just like it just didn't magically happen on its own. But I've never tried to be an authority. You know, I've never tried, and I hope, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've missed, you know, I don't think I've come across this way. And like he said, the kind of pay to play mentality, certainly, look, as we're trying to continue to grow the brand, certainly we appreciate everybody who donates. We love the small, I think the C3 super fan, it would be awesome if we could do it without YouTube taking their cut. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, but like, I think that's the kind of thing I appreciate is like, let's crowdsource longevity, you know, and make it so we can continue to invest in equipment and pay ultimately, like we pay for StreamYard, we pay for some different things. So I don't want this, if it was about money, bro, I would have quit a long motherfucking time ago.
Yeah, no.
But I don't want it to be about me. And it's been really over the last few years that finally the vision has come into fruition. You know, where the calls are like crazy. People are putting the tags in the gang is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is all I wanted to be. And I've been pretty consistent on this, is I want this show to be like us riding in the car of the game, talking shit. And we're going to talk shit. We're all going to disagree. We're all going to have players that we love. We're going to have players we don't love. We're going to hate. Like, that's what I want it to be about. And so I hope people appreciate that. And if they, look, this is about you guys. I really want this to be about you, not about me.
I want to say one thing. We might not have the most subscribers of every Panther podcast. We might not do the most numbers, but let me tell you what. There is no more dedicated community than the C3 community,
real,
baby.
Bro.
C3 Panther fandom is real army out here.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, to anybody who would like to just join and put that C3 in your name, like our boy C3 D's Ill Skills has done, feel free, baby. Own that C3. I know Evan has done it as well. Man, so many people are starting to jump on the train. Join this C3 family, bro.
And look, is the Cody, well, first, none of the, I mean, I'm the only OG on the podcast, but it's going to happen. Like, I mean, we have to be able to live on through adversity, you know, I mean, and Joe had real health stuff. But you guys have joined and become the family. You become the godfathers now yourselves. But look, like Cody's now ranked above C3 in the Twan-Don rankings. Like, how dope is that? You got, I mean, I'm a little worried that Cody might be turning into like a demagogue fascist. Like, he's like got an army out there. And he's like, let's go.
I am not a usurper, Tony Don.
No, not a usurper, but you might be like, oh my gosh, it's like
I'm not. Nah, dude. Hey, I am.
Awesome. You got an army, bro. You got a little Cody.
I'm the commander of the army. I'm the commander of the C3 army, and I have my dogs, my C3
You got some
warriors.
generals out
I have
there.
my
You got some
special
lieutenants.
unit, bro. I got the front line.
We are Sparta.
Yeah, dude, have you ever seen Troy? I'm like an Achilles with the myrmidon.
Yeah.
It's funny you describe this as a C3 Army because somebody who has been in the Army, like I feel the community that I have with the Panthers fans. I talk to C3 fans on DMs and everything out throughout the day more than my wife. It's crazy.
Man, like,
It really
I'm
is
telling
crazy.
you, I weathered the pandemic.
Well, when you compare to the Army, this like an Army, that's what this is. It's a group of people from all different backgrounds
With a
that
singular
have one thing in
cause.
common, that have come together with this one thing in common. And that's the most important thing, and that's what they're driving for. So I love it, man. I love it.
I do get a little irritated on this fact. I'm not irritated. Maybe jelly is the right word. Jelly is that people. So, like, look, if you want to write for Carolina, look, I want to make this podcast about y'all. I want to make the website. Look, I pay for this website every year, and it's just sitting there. We can do whatever we want with it.
Oh, people are hitting me up to write.
I know. Why they hit you up? That like Cody is like, I feel like they're so disarmed by Cody, and they're like, I'll talk to Cody, but I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Hey man, I have
like
that.
Dad. It's like I don't know if I should ask Dad.
Right.
You're like the cool uncle, and I'm like the dad.
Dude, look, man. I have that warmth about me. I like to invite people in.
You're like a girl.
I'm like I'm like the prom king that all the girls want to be around.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Dude, my students don't hang out and talk to me afterwards, and it's like great. And I'm like, thank God. When they do, I'm like, please, I don't give a fuck.
Hey man, Diesel Skills with the $5 says C3 come unity. I love that. I love that big time. Tammy Young related to Bryce Young himself. Hey, that's the narrative I'm running with, Tammy. You're of relation from now on with the $3 super sticker. You know we appreciate you. And then 910 Panther fan says #1 Panthers podcast. Period.
And you know what, Tammy Young as well. Like if Bryce has nothing to prove, that's fine. I understand if you're he's your nephew, it's fine. If Bryce Young ends up being the guy, you can personally come on here and chastise me and tell me.
You can do it anyway. It doesn't even have to be the guy. You can get up here.
I have no problem with that. Seriously, I want to be wrong in this situation, and it's almost weird saying I want to be wrong because I'm not saying that Bryce Young is going to be a failure. He's just not the guy that I want.
You're not a dreamer. You're not a dreamer.
I'm skeptical about what he can do.
You're not a dreamer.
We're going to see what happens. And if I'm wrong, then it's going to be a great day.
Well, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for. Let's go to the next one.
White Chocolate said this is our band name. Cody Lack and the C3 Podcast.
Yo, what's up, C3? It's Evan Sports Talk here again.
What's up, Evan?
Post-draft, I'm happy about the draft. I can't lie. I mean, there's some picks that I didn't like, but I'm happy about the draft. I'm happy it's over. I'm happy we got a franchise guy. I already got that pre-order process blue Bryce Young jersey, and hopefully that comes soon. But yeah. So I just want to come on and give my opinion and ask you guys. I know you guys have said it already on your opinions on the picks, but I just want to come on and give my opinion. And yeah, obviously love the Bryce pick. I may have been a CJ guy, but either way, I was fine with getting Bryce too. We got a franchise guy. I'm happy about it. The second pick, I was hoping for not gonna lie, I was hoping for BJ Ojulari. When I saw BJ Ojulari fall right into our laps, I was like, oh, we gotta go BJ. And when we didn't and we took Jonathan, I was a little like shocked. I would say I was shocked, but I was still happy because he's still a good pick. And as long as I can see him becoming our team's AJ Brown or DK Metcalf eventually, because Ole Miss comes out with really good receivers most of the time. And a lot of the times they're taken in the second round. And I'm hoping that he becomes our own team's DK Metcalf / AJ Brown, because then we wouldn't need to spend any money or another draft pick on a #1 receiver, or if we need another depth piece or a second guy. But I'm happy with it still. Rather we've gone with BJ Ojulari, especially because we ended up taking DJ Johnson then. And to be honest, I don't like that pick at all. The fact we didn't need to trade up at all for him. I think, if anything, in my opinion, we should have gone with Trenton Simpson or Keely Mingo, who are still on the board there. Probably more Trenton Simpson, but hopefully he can develop into the guy that they think he can be. And I trust this coaching staff, so hopefully he ends up being a little bit better. Maybe not the number 2 guy next to Brian Burns, but at least rotation guy. And then Trandall Savala, not much to say about that one either. Love that pick. I'm hoping he starts the season since Austin Corbett won't be. But yeah, love that pick. And then Jamie Robinson, I like that pick. I'd rather we've gone a different position, maybe a corner, because we already have so many safeties. But as long as he's like a slot guy, I'm still fine with it. But yeah, I just real quickly want to come on and say my opinions on all the draft picks. And yeah, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Hey, you know, a lot of people are going to have their preferences. You know, I would have loved to have had Trenton Simpson. I also was very high on BJ Ojulari. But the Panthers didn't do that, man. They decided to go in a different direction. Again, DJ Johnson is the one that has to pan out for me before I really understand it and feel good about it. I want to see him.
It's a third rounder, though. Like, if a third rounder doesn't pan out, that's not the worst.
Right.
The trade up was a little,
right. In recent years, I mean, Brady Christensen was a 3rd round pick. We've had some good 3rd round pick. Wasn't Jeremy Chin? Or we moved up into the second round.
Can I ask though, what do you mean if a 3rd rounder doesn't pan out to what? Doesn't pan out to a starter, an all-star?
Right.
Like, doesn't
I don't give a fuck. I mean, look, I don't
in my
give
opinion,
a fuck.
a 3rd
How many
rounder could be a depth player.
Yeah,
a rotational guy. That,
I mean, look, is you really
success, you know?
the way I think about it is that if you could hit in rounds 1, 2, and 3, and they become starters, that's like a sensational draft. I think that's sensational. You know what I'm saying? Is that the third, once you start getting in the 3rd round, you're kind of on that outside looking in. You're hoping rather than believe, you know. But if you think a 3rd rounder is going to, that's why I was most surprised by what Scott Fitterer said about him playing so much. To be honest, like that was the most surprising part about it, because then I think that does put the onus of success on Scott Fitterer and this pick rather than on Cody's take. If you're saying, you know what I'm saying? Like that is before I had the ability to say, oh, you know, we'll see if he works out.
Yeah, but you're right. He should have to earn it on the football field before saying, oh, yeah, we're going to use him a lot. Like maybe Fitterer kind of was just eager to answer the question.
I think he was trying to defend it.
Yeah, because he traded
was
up
defending
for
the pick. Yeah,
I think so too. I think you're right. And before you go to the next call, C Dog, my guy with the $2, his longest running Panthers podcast, baby, both literally and figuratively, as we are moving into the 3rd hour.
I know we're almost done.
When I introduce the podcast to somebody, like when I meet in the streets as a Panthers fan or whatever, I say the biggest one in the universe or longest one in the universe. Because technically, it is.
I mean, we're in the multiverse at this point. Let's go to the next one.
Treat, baby. Back to the ass whooping. Greg, as I was saying, I don't know if you was bullied back in the day when you was a fucking kid.
I'm sorry. You've got 2 calls in, G baby. Where was White Chocolate? Oh, here. G baby, we did 2.
Yo, it's White Chocolate Express. So what's happening? Let me get y'all thoughts on this, because it was kind of heated and Friday free for all chat. So what do y'all think about, not this year, probably a year from now or 2 years from now, trading Taylor Moton for draft picks?
2 years from now? What is going to be fucking
right before his last year? If we trade him, we save like a shit ton of money. And I feel personally, at the end of this contract, he's going to be 31. And he's either going to be bad, which we're probably not going to re-sign him, or he's going to be what he's been doing right now. And we're not going to be able to re-sign him.
Pretty good.
Because ain't no way we're going to re-sign a 31-year-old right tackle to a big bank. Because he's probably going to get a big bank if he's still playing at the same level.
Not. What do you guys think Taylor Moton is?
I think we should trade him.
He's a damn.
Get some draft picks.
But he's saying trade.
Are you Christian at right tackle, or
he said in a couple of years, right?
But yeah, give me your thoughts on that.
Here, I'm gonna go back. Here.
He's either going to be, I believe, right before his last year, we trade him, we save like a shit ton of money. And I feel personally, at the end of this contract, he's going to be 31.
Yeah, so that's like 3 years from now. So he's talking about in 2 years trading him.
Right.
What do you think? All right, let me ask this. Ask the chat. Chat, tell me, what do you honestly believe? Realistically, take your Panther goggles off. How about this? What would you give for Taylor Moton if you're a GM?
Right now or in 2 years?
No, right now.
Right now.
And I promise you this, I wouldn't give more than a third. And to be honest, I think that's rich.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers virtually just got traded for a first-round pick.
Well, but he went for a quarterback and $40 million salary.
No,
we're talking about a mid-level right tackle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm making a gauge. You're talking about a Hall of Famer that just got traded for a first-round pick. Basically, a first-round pick. If you look at it all in all, it's kind of what it is. I kind of agree with you, Tony. Maybe a third.
Maybe
a third.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even feel great if we, I think there's a overpay too. Like you got to pick up his salary too.
You don't
like,
think you could finesse a team out of a second round pick? Like, let's
No.
say they're desperate.
I kind of.
Oh yeah, I think mid-season,
yes.
Mid-season, yes. Like if you are on a team that you believe has a real chance to do some shit, and then your tackle goes down, and you're like, man, we need something. Yes, I believe that. But I'm talking about right now, before shit's getting hopping. Like if we put him on the market, I think best case scenario is third round pick. Best.
I agree with you.
I hope that they
we're
give
lucky there.
Christensen. I hope that they give Christensen a few different snaps at right tackle this year. Let's see what the dude has. I mean, the dude is incredibly athletic, and that
but you know what? He might get it by necessity rather than
right.
You know what I mean? Like those are the great things about these. Right. Look, that's why I don't want to kick Taylor Moton to the curb. That's why I'm not saying trade him. Like I want to have him on the team right now, but like let's be honest. Like, he's a good player. He's a good player.
He's not a cornerstone player. He's not a guy that you're going to build your team around. And like you said, he's a good player.
He's good enough.
And if we can keep him in a couple of years, that's great. But if we can get a third round pick for him in a couple of years, that might be great too.
All right, let's go to. I think this might be. Let me see. Oh, I got one more call after this, but this is. I think this is real AP.
Hey, what's up, C3? Real AP here.
AP.
Tony, you lost me at the beginning of the podcast about the whole Barack. Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, whatever.
Well, Obama. Anyway, is this Obama? Wait, hold on.
I'm just.
Did he say Barack? First of all, he called
the
the president by his first name. I love that. He said by the old Barack. Like that's awesome. No more Mr. President. No President Obama. He said you lost me when you said this. And you know what? That actually, he's making my point right here. My point
I gotta hear this.
entirely is that there are certain people in the world who are remarkably polarizing. Cam Newton. That's why I've compared Cam Newton to Barack Obama. Like he's like this. It's like this. Look, it is. He made this call at 11:58. And he said, "Oh, you lost me with Brock."
Probably a few pops in.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it's wonderful. But that's the point. Is there certain? And I think Donald Trump is on the other side is exactly like that. You know, it's just people. You either love these motherfuckers or hate. There's no. Oh, I kind of like them. It's not like it's not like there's no vanilla ice cream to this. So my wife thinks that vanilla ice cream is like the stupidest invention ever. And I was like, wait a minute. No. First of all, it's the first fucking ice cream.
It's a base for everything.
It's the first ice cream. Right? Like you can't, right. But then she's like, oh, why would you want that boring ass ice cream? There's no middle ground. This is not a fairway hit. This is no vanilla ice cream. It's either you love it, you either love mint chocolate chip or you don't.
See,
right. I want to get back to
that's where I honestly, Tony, you make a fair point because most people are in that position, but I have to disagree with you because there are some people who aren't. Because while I'm not a Donald Trump fan, there are a lot of things that Donald Trump did that I loved, and there's a ton of things he did that I hated.
Right, but you might just be a reasonable person, dude.
I just
You might
love
just
that he
happen to
was
be
hilarious. That he was the funniest president that we have ever had, hands down.
I don't know. You
I
weren't very,
you know what?
You weren't
What
very,
I think
very
is
old when
wild
Clinton
went
in office. So
I think what's wild about
6.
Donald Trump is that for people that particularly like me who try to be like, oh, I'm a elitist, like thinker, that I thought that though it was going to destroy the world. Like I will give credit to this guy. I thought his foreign policy would be as a disaster. And his foreign policy turned out to be the best part of his presidency.
Agreed.
Is like the only thing I don't like about he's just crass as a motherfucker, but he is hilarious. Yeah. And look, like to your point, Cody, and we'll go to this. We got to go back to the call because it's not about us. But I love what Dave Chappelle said. This is when Donald Trump came out and called it the Kung Flu. And he goes, he said, motherfucker, I'm supposed to make that joke. I'm supposed to make that joke. I thought that's it. So, you know what is I find, I actually don't. And this is where it's kind of wild. And this is where the polarizing part, I guess the point of my point is that sometimes we're almost scared to say that we don't dislike Donald Trump or that we kind of, you're almost afraid to take the middle ground on these people because you're either supposed to love them or hate them. And Cam Newton, my whole point was is that there was a group of people that decided to hate Cam Newton before he did anything. Let's keep going with the call.
Kind of excited about Bryce Young. I saw a post earlier, not from you guys, but somewhere else, that how he couldn't throw because he's so short and about the batted balls. And it's something I've preached, like you got throwing lanes. Like, of course, at Alabama, his linemen are a lot taller than he is. And you got to throw between them or around them. And you got to be quick with it, man. And I just really hope he does that. And we make good plays. I was a Stroud guy. That's who I wanted. But he's our quarterback now, and I think he'll be. I believe he'll be all right. I don't know, but I still want Corral to have a chance, and Dalton. I think Dalton will start day one. The Red Rocket.
What in this world is this guy? No,
I think he'll be in the season opener.
He said he had a feeling that we were going to
until somebody steps up.
We're gonna roast him.
I could be wrong, but this is my opinion. But love you guys. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for
thanks again, Tony, for making this happen, and I appreciate you taking my calls and playing them. Cody, Greg, y'all are awesome, man. Representing the 336.
Love it. Great call.
Keep pounding.
Seriously, does anybody think that Andy Dalton starts week 1? I would not bet a single. I think that bet is almost as wild as saying, remember when they were like, oh my God, who was the guy I already forgot his name, the Kentucky quarterback.
Darnold?
No, the Kentucky quarterback. Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, the odds moved from 4,000 to 400. But guess what? The odds still suck. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're
the
still
odds
stupid.
You're still losing your money.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a chance in hell that anybody but Bryce Young starts on week 1.
Well, Frank Reich has said that the day 1 starter when they get to training camp is going to be Andy Dalton. But he said they're gonna
say
go.
That.
No, he did. No, yeah, I'm not lying.
It's a good laugh.
No,
it's
Tony.
It's an honest laugh.
Frank Reich said that out of his fucking mouth. Go listen to the press conference. He said
I heard.
that
I did not hear that.
Andy-
We must hear different
I
things.
promise you, we did. They're saying that Andy Dalton
Get it for next week.
will be the
Challenge.
starter in training camp, but
Oh,
that
he's
they're
throwing the
going to
red
go.
flag.
But
We need a red-
again, they
red
already
flag
gave
bumper.
all the caveats by saying, "Well, we're going to go from there." You know,
I did
basically
not
saying
hear
they're going to
that.
have a competition, and it's going to end up being
Flag.
I'm not.
Greg,
You're
I'm throwing
not
the
wrong.
flag.
I'm making a red flag bumper that we can all play. That we can all play whenever we want to.
I'm
Bam.
challenging
They
this.
did
I want to
say-
hear those words.
Dude, I'm telling you, he did say that.
No,
Andy
I think
Dalton
he
will be
said
the
that.
starter.
No, he did not say that.
Yes, he
Nope.
did.
I didn't hear it either.
I'm challenging
Yes,
that. I think
I
he
wanna hear
said
it.
this is we're not
All
ready
right,
to
so what happens
coordinate
when
him
I'm right?
day one.
What happens when I'm right and
no,
the both of you
listen,
are wrong?
No.
Well,
okay,
you know what?
okay.
I mean,
so Cody,
then we'll be wrong.
Yeah.
So Cody, you're telling me that for you to be right, Andy
You have to
Dalton
find
has
the
to be
audio.
the starter.
No, for him to be right, he has to find that audio.
You just gotta find that audio.
No,
Okay.
you're not even.
If
I
you
don't
find
believe that
audio,
audio
I
exists.
will submit.
I don't believe that audio exists.
I don't believe it either.
In his,
Yeah.
it was either Fitterer or Frank Reich. They said that Andy Dalton, when training camp starts, that
Al.
he is the starter right now. And by
Al
the way,
said it right. No, Al said they're not going to give him the starting job right away, but they did not say that
the chat
Andy
room is
Dalton would be the
vindicating me.
starter
No,
from day
look,
one.
the chat room is
trade
on
up
my
for that
side.
pick
Okay,
and
The
draft
chat
him.
room is
No,
Get the
on
clip.
my
Get the
side.
clip,
no,
chat.
I don't give
Next
a shit.
Tuesday.
You do not trade up for that pick and draft him to
I'm
not
right.
be the starter.
I'm right.
No,
That's
I want to
fine,
hear
but
the
I'm right.
audio, not
sorry.
tonight.
Fine,
Chat,
but I'm
chat,
still
make me
right.
feel bad. Look, you don't like that anyway. Come in here next week. I want to hear those exact words. You said this is that Andy Dalton will be the starter in training camp.
When they go into the season, he will be with the number ones first.
I want to hear it.
That's what
That-
I don't believe
wanna
that
hear it.
audio exists.
Everyone in the chat
No,
room
that's
is
fine.
saying that
That's
he
fine.
didn't
That's
say
fine.
that.
I want to. They can keep saying it. I want them to produce the clip next Tuesday. Or you can, you know what? Tweet me at @cat_chronicles. Hit me with the shame me. Shame me on this. I want to hear those exact
Yeah,
words
shame
because
the
I
both of
didn't hear
you
the same thing.
for
I
doubting
heard
me.
this is I heard they said this. We're not going to give Bryce Young the number one right away. That's different. That's a different statement.
No, it's not, because if they're not giving it to him right away, then
They're not going to
Dalton
give
is
it
the
to
de
Dalton right
facto
away
number
either.
one.
It didn't say they're giving it to Dalton. Okay.
He is going to be with the ones the first
Okay.
week.
I don't believe it. Let's go to the last call.
What's going on? This is Jay Anderson hitting y'all up. I'm really disappointed in this draft, man.
Oh,
you know,
God. Way
I
to
know
ruin
everybody
that
feel happy
last
that they
call
got
of
the
the show.
quarterback that they got. You know, I understand that, you know, but we should have drafted Will Levis' girlfriend, and that girl is bad. Did y'all see her? Oh my goodness, boy, she is tougher than Popeye's biscuit, boy. Oh, she is. She ain't the finest woman in the world or nothing like that, but
She bad as
God,
hell, bro.
damn, boy, y'all had to see her TikTok, boy. She was in that red dress looking good, bruh.
Yeah.
I know she was like, look, what Bryce Young at, so I can go over him. Yeah, dang, how you
about her
got that
his
badass
mom,
of
Will
a
Levis'
girlfriend and dropped the second? What the hell?
Or is he talking
But
about Will
boy,
Levis'
He's
girl?
talking about Will Levis as a girlfriend.
You know
Boy.
what's crazy is I like the mom better.
She's a first round draft pick. She's a first round draft pick, no doubt. All right, y'all be easy.
I appreciate you, Pop. Yo, he's the man.
All right. Those are
yeah,
the cat
dude.
calls, dude. We rocked to it. You know what? Is at 10:30. I said, "Oh shit, we're gonna get out of here early." And then the cat call said, "No, you wait. You're gonna argue over
do that?
Barack Obama, Will Levis, his girlfriend, and his mom." And now we got a couple of. Let's blast through the NFL news super quick, man.
Yeah,
Super quick.
Yeah, NFL. Yeah, super quick. The Packers have come to an extension with Jordan Love, so it's a little bit in between where you would have made on the franchise tag.
Kind of smart. Like if he actually is good right here, they get another year before they have to make a decision.
Right.
22.5 million, 13.5 guaranteed. And yeah, they haven't ever seen him before, so they want to buy themselves a little time. Tony, this is on yours. I have no
This is
idea
mine.
about it.
So I saw this is so this OnlyFans model and I had her name. It was like something Hussy or American Hussy, I think is at American Hussy. Well, I'm not even gonna track it down. But this OnlyFans model who doesn't show her face because he don't want her parents. In the article, she says she doesn't want her parents to see, which is like whack. If you're only sorry, you're already committed.
Until your dad.
Yeah,
it's
like, exactly. Your dad's jerking off to yours. Right. But so it says mysterious OnlyFans model sends DMs to NFL draft picks. So she emailed every single potential offensive lineman that was going to be drafted, like in the first couple of rounds or whatever. And not email, but then message them on Twitter or Insta or whatever the fuck it was. Something nice. It was just like, oh, rooting for you in the draft. And in a way, a publicity type of thing, kind of, not a terrible idea if you're putting your brand out there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one person that responded, and it's this guy that was drafted by, I think, the Green
Georgia. Pittsburgh, right?
Darren White. I think his name's something Darren White.
Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright. That's what it is. Darnell Wright. And he just responded, "Stankin' bitch." Like, kind of funny to me. He looks so look. He got wearing the No Bull shirt right there. He just told her straight up. So that was funny, man. That made me laugh.
No,
what's next?
Yeah, man. Hey, don't drink and drive, y'all. There has never been a better example of don't drink and drive, in my opinion.
It's one of the tops, yeah.
Dude, he was
having a great season that year.
He had his life ahead of him. Pleaded guilty to DUI. He ended up killing a person. He was driving 156
You remember
miles
the
an
car
hour.
turned into a fireball, and it was right in front of all of the Las Vegas.
It was on video. It was terrible, man.
The sad.
He's probably going to end up serving between 3 and 10 years in prison.
Well, that's the sad part about it is it's 3 and 10 years, 3 to 10. Like it's manslaughter. I think 3 is light. I think 3 is, you know what I'm saying? Is like if you get 3 years and then you don't even serve all of it, that's kind of the first is to the person that lost their life. That's the real awful part of this story. But that's again is like I hope that we don't lighten up our discussion of society just because it's a little in the rear view, and no pun intended on that one, but of our discussion. It's like just because it feels distant now. Like I bet you if they had that trial a month after this shit happened, he would get 20 years.
Oh yeah.
So all right.
Sad, man.
This one makes me laugh. Tony is not turning into. I just am the old creepy dude on the podcast. I'm the guy that would pat this girl's.
Tony, you're like a year older than me, man. Like
I know. I'm 41.
You're calling
but
yourself old. That makes me feel bad. Yeah.
Oh, but, dude, SC Base just put it in the chat, dude. How about Lucas Van Ness's girlfriend? I don't know if that's what happened.
It was perfect, right time. It's perfect timing. So, Cardinals. I just saw this. It turns out that Fox News' best coverage of the news is on sports.
Yeah, probably so.
I just Google every time before we go on the show. I just hit Google News. You know what I'm saying? NFL. And I just see if anything pops out. And it's like 2 of these headlines. The OnlyFans one was from Fox News. This one's also, I think, from Fox News. Cardinals Buda Baker reacts to NFL draft picks dad slapping butt of son's girlfriend. He said, "I'm checking him. I'm watching out." Hey, you know what? He was drafted 13. He was like, "Baby girl, like I got you here. I got him here. I got you here."
And he jumped through it.
Don't be that guy one day when it's your son's girlfriend and it's like, "Hey, Dad, this is my girl. She got a big old fat ass." You have to hold yourself back. You gotta hold yourself back.
You know what? I tell you this is what's worse is being the person whose dad is doing that. This is more embarrassing.
On camera.
Yeah, more embarrassing for Lucas Van Ness than it is for the dad.
Oh, for sure, without question.
Dalvin Cook could make a super team in Miami
if they have a QB.
Yeah,
if QB
they have
holds
so
up,
much
Miami's
talent.
Miami
He's not forgetting
Super
where he
Bowl
is
team
due
if
to
the quarterback holds up.
if he's not
Period.
forgetting where he is due to the CTE that has been inflicted upon him. And Tony put this in just to piss me off. Hey, bring Isaiah Simmons here, bro. Bring him here.
Yeah, bring him here.
Fine.
I'm down too.
Bring him here. Let Ejiro Rivero turn him around. Let him be that franchise linebacker that we need, bro.
I will take Isaiah Simmons over CJ Henderson any fucking day of the week.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
I got
100 times
no
over.
argue with that.
100 times over.
Got no argument here.
Yes,
this
sir.
is wild right here, guys. Is they count and it's not the Texans are gonna have to pay this right away, but I think this is the calculation if they pick up the 5th-year option on both of these guys. That since they had 2 top 5 that it would cost them $106 million.
There's the downside. Yep.
Hey, you know what? I bet you Stroud gets it and Will Anderson or whatever his name is not getting the. I mean, I don't know. Imagine picking up the 5th-year option on both of them right there, and it costs like $60 million. Wow. Anyway.
Price you pay. Yeah.
All right. That is the news. This is the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. It's the longest running Panthers podcast, literally. And we're still running right here. We got one last segment. It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up to get it together. Anyone's fair game. Let's get after it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Get in there,
So-
fellas.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I have a few different ones. I don't know if I'll play all of them, but first off, dude, if you're gonna take hardcore drugs, make sure
Do
you're
a
not doing.
podcast.
Wait, make sure you're not doing it before you go to work, because, dude, old buddy is struggling, dude.
There he is.
Oh,
That's meth right
He
there.
he looks out the
Yeah.
window, sees someone look at him, and says, "Damn, they just saw me do that." Oh, hits it again.
You didn't do that when you were 17?
What?
This is at the Taco Bell in Niles. I'm sitting here waiting for my food. And this guy.
This is awesome. Who's the ice up on?
It's like this.
Ice up on this fool waiting on this food.
It's ridiculous.
Whoa.
I would not eat anything he made me.
I know.
Sorry, I'm just not doing it.
Bro, you would give him like a receipt and be like, all right, we're good. Like, you wouldn't pay him.
It just slides down and down.
Bro,
Dude, that
I'm
is,
so glad. I'm
awesome.
so glad that the oxycodone and shit was after my era. You know,
Me
they
too.
didn't invent that shit till
Me too.
1999 and ruined a lot of. I know people that died after it that I worked with when they were younger. Thank God I didn't have that. We used to do nitrous balloons. That's what we used to do.
Whippets.
Dude, whippets.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Whippets,
Dude.
yeah.
With a
Dude.
cracker. My favorite thing, we used to do that. And then we would do it in the middle of the yard and tell them to run. And you would just run into the yard. Stupid.
This next one. Why are people jumping off of houses into pools?
A
It
6 foot
seems
pool.
like you want pain for yourself. Oh.
You know what? I bet you the other guy broke his legs. The guy that went down deep.
Yeah, that's what that one was Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that hesitation. Yeah, that'll.
I bet you the other guy's the one that got killed, bro. He probably broke his legs because that pool's only probably at the most 8 foot deep.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
look,
icing up.
You better tuck them legs, homie.
With this one, I'm icing up whoever would get on this freaking ride, dude, and scramble their brains.
I would totally get on that ride.
Yeah,
There's a ride
not
like that
me.
at the fair that I have.
Nope.
State fair that I have. I would
Nope,
definitely
nope,
get on that
nope.
ride.
Dude, look at it.
I would definitely get on that. Oh my gosh.
Watch, wait.
You got one like that? Yep.
Bruh, I don't know about all that one, dude.
Oh, yeah, I would.
That
I
might
love
be
that
a
stuff.
little bit much for your boy.
I don't like
my,
them types of runs.
My final one.
You're pulling a Tony tonight. I love it.
Yep. You cannot convince me that this woman wasn't trying to commit a murder homicide on her baby, dude. She has her baby in a stroller, and it's a windy day wherever she is, and then this happens. So the wind takes away the bucket, and then she just falls. Oh, look her.
They come get oh no!
Oh, you are the man. Yeah. Lifesaver right there, man. Jeez. Yeah, like
now this woman is so damn fat and out of shape that she can't get up to run. Like, look how she stumbled. And then falls back down. It's like, bro, come on, dude. It smells of such bullshit to me, bro.
Yeah, like they say.
And she's trying to pull her pants up and shit. Yeah, I agree with Dustin. She's on drugs as well, dude. Yeah, I think
probably penicillin for type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, dude. Someone thwarted her plans, in my opinion. But to her, ice up, and that's it, man. That's all my ice up picks.
Okay.
Let me go real quick. You got video, Greg? Mine's
not
short
on video.
and
Just pictures.
Okay, mine's short and sweet. Is I'm icing up Boston sports. I hope that I assume that a lot of Boston fans have drank bleach over the last 2 days. They've lost 2 Game 7s. The Boston lost last night where James Harden. They didn't even have Joel Embiid, and James Harden goes off for 45.
Yeah,
and then I think I'm pretty sure the Bruins had the best season in like the history of hockey. And then they get bounced in the first round by the Florida Panthers and losing Game 7. So ice up to Boston sports. Big ass choke moment. Don't drink the bleach, folks.
Don't
ice up,
drink the bleach. I agree. Okay, I'll go. Real quick, I'm going to show this. I shared this with y'all the other day because I didn't want CK to steal mine because me and CK always have the same ice up picks. It's crazy. But I haven't gone political in a while. So I will now. Like, I've got to ice up Joe Biden here. Like, if you don't know and you don't pay attention to politics, you should, because it's your future.
This is not your future.
Have you ever heard of have you ever heard of Joe Biden may be if you don't get to the voting box? I'm telling you. Have you ever heard of having the press in your back pocket?
Okay.
Well, Joe Biden definitely has the press in his back pocket. Okay, so this is a picture, and there's
that's a reporter.
This is a picture. This is a reporter. So check it out. This is his press report, right? So his cards that he has the reporter, the name spelled out phonetically, so that way he can read what the name says.
Well, I mean, look at the name. I mean, I would need it too.
Superman. You're right. Okay, I get that. Okay. Then the exact question she's going to ask.
Plant.
And I'm assuming below his hand, the answer he's going to give. Like it says right here, question 1. Like right there, question 1. Look at that. Okay. So this is not the definition of free press. Okay. So I will not tell anybody that you're dumb.
The fourth estate.
This is going on. But I want to ask you, do you think this right here is free press? Do you really think this is actual reporters asking him questions that he has to answer? Or do you think that the press is in his back pocket? So I'm icing up Joe Biden for this one right here because this is absolutely insane. And if you go back and look at it, there's multiple times throughout his tenure as president where this is the case. Joe Biden has the press in his back pocket. And this right here is proof. There is no other proof you need for it. That he has questions laid out for him that he can cherry pick what he wants. So I'm icing up Joe Biden on this.
Ice up. And I don't know who to ice up on this, but
it's all theater.
All right. So when you say theater, that's perfect segue for. I went caught lunch. Forgot to bring my lunch to work. I went to this little country restaurant today, and they had a TV up, no sound, but they had it was like 1:00, so the stories were on. They had the daytime stories, which I didn't even know still existed, but I did know. So like Guiding Light, the days go on or whatever. Victor Newman. I don't know if you guys remember Victor Newman.
Yeah, my mom used to watch that shit.
He's still in this motherfucker. I don't know how. I mean, this is like 30 years later.
Dude, I was a little fucking
He was
kid.
not young when I was like 8.
Dude, I was a little kid. Remember watching him with my mom on those shows, dude.
Victor Newman's still alive. Like Joe Biden is the Victor Newman of politics. He's still alive. You can't. All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Greg, you got one thing to say, and let's get out of here.
I do. I have two more quick ones. One,
all right,
Golden State. I'm up Golden State for losing to LA right now because F y'all. Lakers are going to the finals.
Golden State lost?
Golden State lost just now to
out of the whole shit already?
Yeah. They lost game one. They lost game one.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I thought they just got into the
game one.
Don't worry,
LA
Steph about to go up for 50.
LA and 5. Check out the 5 and 5 podcast on GCS channel. Like we're covering NBA playoffs. But I wanted to ice up one. I wanted to ice up one more person here. I want to play this music so bad. I really do because I want y'all to hear it, but I can't. But I can read the lyrics. Okay, so do y'all know who Smokey Robinson is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Smokey Robinson is, let me check, 83 years old, coming out with a new album this year.
What's wrong with that?
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Oh,
the name of the album is Gasms. Okay,
he's a man after my own heart.
It's a self-titled album, which means the lead song on the album is Gasms. Is the name of the song. I didn't pull up the names of the songs on the album because it's pretty funny. It's like I think I'd fit in there. I think is one of the names of the song. So it's pretty crazy. But let me read let me read you the lyrics to the first song, the title song for this album, Gasms. When I look at you, it makes me feel better than good. And what I see is you and me together forever. I'm knocking on wood. Every kind of gasm in the book. Each time I has them. Every time
I don't see anything wrong with this song.
You give me eye
years old, dude.
You give me eye.
Close your eyes when I'm about to finish.
You're responsible for my gasms. Like,
oh yeah,
this is insane, dude.
Did you see? Did I send you guys the shit? Did I send you guys the shit about the? Okay.
I gotta say, I do. I can't believe I forgot to read this earlier. We got a $20 love bomb from Rockhead 81. Just thanks, guys, for keeping my ears tingling with Panthers content. Rockhead, we love you, brother. My
Smokey
apologies
Robinson keeps tingling.
He can do it.
Yeah, right.
Apparently.
Apologies for reading that so late, man.
If his wood gets that hard at 83, good for him. Bro, did I not send to you guys? I'm pretty sure I sent this to you. Somebody sent it to me. It was the karaoke jerk off karaoke.
Yeah, dude, I posted.
You're the one that sent it to me. Yeah, like that is like I fucking like I'm all in. I've never sung karaoke, but I'll give it a shot.
I posted the dumbest response. Someone tagged me in it. I was like, "Yo, Cody, what you think about this?" And I posted the dumbest picture and the dumbest caption. Like, how do I join? How do I start? Dude, it had over 1,300 likes.
Wow.
Dude,
I'll get jerked off and sing karaoke. Man, them Korean people are onto some shit that we don't know
about. The Japanese, dude, the Japanese are wild.
Yeah, they're onto something, man. Just like Smokey Robinson. This is C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions into Wednesday morning. Cody Lack, let's get the hell out of here. They know who we are.
Yeah, they do. C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.